Good morning, fans of Free Enterprise, and welcome to our Highway to the Zemus Zone League match of round of 16 round count match. I am Bakashinobi, and I am joined by MaggieTheKatt.
Hello, RPG Limit Break, and good morning. Thank you for all waking up kind of early this morning to join us on this lovely Sunday morning. How are you doing tonight, Bakashinobi?
I'm doing well. It's a bit easier for me. I'm used to waking up early, but this is a pretty exciting race for us. This is the Mist Dragon group, and we've got 3 people who are not in last year's league, so this is going to be pretty exciting no matter who advances.
Yeah, absolutely. Today we are going to be featuring Zilch, peasantsomfg, and dobbytwostep with their team captain already in the previous match that they all played together. So today it's going to be the 3 remaining, and the 2 who come in first and second place will be moving on to the finals.
So not the highest stakes to come in first, but you really don't want to be last. And these players all had 12 points from the round of 32, so they're going to be pretty even in terms of footing. Do you have any favorites?
I mean, all of them are very, very good players. They're all newer players to the Free Enterprise Randomizer compared to some of the runners who have been rejoining us from the league last year. So we've, as we were talking about earlier in voice, that we were going to be seeing some new blood here. It's hard to say who's a favorite because, you know, they're all very evenly matched. I think today's match is going to be a real kind of grip the edge of your seat to see which one of them is going to be moving, or which 2 of them are going to be moving on.
Yeah, this is going to be... these races are tense when there's 4, and when there's 3, it's even more tense because you know that if you see a dot done and you don't have your crystal, you're in very, very scary shape.
Yeah, definitely. So there's a very good chance that we're going to be seeing maybe some unusual plays here, maybe some, making some big moves, something like, looking for Mist Dragon in unusual places, or dipping out of the moon early to check some rabbit holes, things like that. We'll see what our runners decide to do to make those big plays to progress and get into the finals.
Yeah, there's a lot on the line. They don't want to go home. They want to go. They've already made a name for themselves, but they're going to try and make a bigger name for themselves here. And we are getting started with our lovely Porum start. Let's see who her companion is.
It looks like it's a twin start. We've got both Palom and Porum and a Baron key. So this is going to be an interesting start. This is going to use the twin magic right away at the beginning of the game. So we'll see how they utilize that to get through some of these early bosses and early fights.
Yeah, and Palom is probably one of the strongest characters to start with. He might not have the best spells at the very start, but one fight in, and he's going to have his level 2 ice spell. He might even go and have all of his level 2 spells if you do the right fight. So this could be a pretty fast start. I wonder if they're going to do some additional looting or skip some stuff.
Looks like all of them are going to go into Baron, and now with that Baron key, they are going to be able to open up the Baron weapon and armor shop if they decide to do so they can check if there's any additional gear in there. There are a couple of extra chests in there that they can loot if they want to. They can even open up the Baron waterway if they want to do that to get extra chests, or try to get into Baron Castle. I doubt any of them are going to want to actually go into the castle and do the boss fights at this point with these 2 characters without any additional levels or loot or characters. But yeah, there's a lot of loot to be had here in Baron just to pick up for free.
Yeah, and they find a sorcerer room in the back bushes, which will be helpful for the early part of this game and the late part of this game, because this is probably the best black mage equipment. And we see another Porum in the end, so lots of twins out today. This is interesting. Essence is going and doing some shopping. Dobby also doing shopping. Zilch checking the water. I don't know if he was ordered heavily for that, but slight path divergences, but nothing too major so far.
Looks like there was actually a moon veil in the pond. That is actually a very nice find for those checks that are a little bit out of the way in the pond over there in Baron. That's going to allow them to, if that moon veil is used, it will allow them to block not only magic but also physical attacks from the character that uses it.
Yeah, that's a pretty huge find for Zilch. That could be pretty important. And to answer a question from chat, which twin is which? The red twin with a green cape is Porum, the white mage, and a green twin with a orange cape is Palom, the black mage, also known as the good.
Yeah, Porum was actually featured earlier this year in our World Series reject percent game, where the top, or I should say bottom 5 characters were the only characters available, and Porum was one of those characters where she is considered one of the worst characters in the game, mainly because of her hit point growth. She has one of the worst hit point growth of all of the characters in the game, along with characters like Tella and Edward. So she is considered one of the weakest characters in the game.
Yeah, and having been in that race, that I ground up to level 52 to get white, and I specifically planned to never see a Big Bang because I didn't think she'd survive it at that point. We do see peasants going in, checking the waterfall quickly and finding Antlion there, so no hidden Demus there yet. Zilch going and checking Kaipo, and dobbytwostep dipping into Antlion.
Yeah, it looks like Dobby will be the first one of our runners to show us what's at the bottom of Antlion, while Peasants is going to be the first one to show us what is up here on Mount Hobbs.
And we're finding more Porums. Porum everywhere. At least he had a pal.
Yeah, and it looks like he got some pretty nice bow and arrow. I saw samurai bow and Artemis arrows, which is actually going to be very nice for getting through this particular boss. The D-Lunars are going to be weak to those Artemis arrows, so yeah, we see him one-shotting these D-Lunars with those Artemis arrows. So this is going to be a pretty free fight at this point.
I wonder what he's going to consider the bigger prize, the character or the experience you get from this.
Yeah, with the experience here, that Palom is going to get at least Ice 2, probably enough to get all of his level 2 spells.
Yep, this will go indeed very solid for him, though. This flame is doing a fair amount of damage, and the flare is reflected and takes out the middle Porum. Ooh, this is a little scary for him, but it looks like, all right, he's taking them out safely with that Artemis arrow. Little dicey, but otherwise okay.
Yes, very nicely done. He was probably hoping for a comet. When you use the twin command, there are 2 different spells that can be available to you, both Flare and Comet. Flare, I believe, is a little bit more powerful, but it is reflectable. And then Comet is not reflectable. But unfortunately, you don't get to pick which spell appears. It's just random. And so, unfortunately, he got that Flare and it got reflected. Yeah, using the arrows was a little bit safer bet in that situation, since the D-Lunar had gotten the wall up on itself at that point.
Indeed, and we see that in the bottom of Antlion. The boss there was one of the free bosses, the Baron Guards. We call them free because they don't have the boss bit, so you can go and throw an hourglass, you can throw coffins and kill them instantly. But dobbytwostep is rewarded with a rat tail, which if we get a hook, we'll be able to turn in for another key item.
Looks like Peasants is dipping into Fabul. This is a pretty good play since his Porum, one of his Porums is dead and the rest of his party is pretty weakened, low on both HP and MP. He's going to get a free heal here once he activates the Fabul defense fight. And so he'll get healed up and we'll be able to see the boss that's here. Hopefully he'll be able to get through it, and then we'll see which key item he gets once he's through this fight.
Indeed, and Odin here, this should be pretty safe when he has a Porum with Lit 2. So this should be pretty safe for him. If other runners come here a bit too quickly, they might be in trouble, because if you don't do Hobbs before here, Palom is not going to go and have his Lit 2 spell and will not be able to take out this Odin quite as quickly.
Yeah, definitely. Odin is weak to lightning. So yeah, this should not be, even finishing off with a Lit 1, doing almost 400 points of damage there. So very clean fight. good to find Odin in a very early spot like that to take him down, because he can be a real brute in some higher boss spots, like in the moon or summon monsters.
Oh yeah, if you don't have a way to survive his Odin attack, this is a very strict DPS rate. Whereas though if you do have a way to survive that Odin attack, you can go and do some unique strategies with him. Namely, after the third time he raises his sword, he'll set a special flag where he goes and makes himself vulnerable to instant death the next lightning spell. And we find not a super reward from Fagul Defense. We do get a Stardust Rod, which is very helpful for Pelham, but not a key item.
Yeah, that's still a very, very nice item, especially finding it this early in the game. It's the best rod that black mages can equip. It increases their, I believe it's the wisdom, which is what black mages use for their magic attack power, by 15.
You're correct. It is 15.
Okay, yeah.
Unlike
Thank
D&D,
you.
it's wisdom which is intelligence in other translations, and wisdom / intelligence for black mages, and will / wisdom for white mages.
You can also use it as an item, and it casts that comet spell that usually is only available by the twin command. So very, very nice pickup this early in the game.
Yep, I can go and help with some easy AoE damage, because Pelham does not have his Quake spell yet, which he learns at level 23, which is a big part of the reason why he is such an amazingly strong character.
Yeah, we often like to refer to him in the community as the Quake Kid or the Quack Kid, because he learns that Quake spell earlier than any other character, definitely earlier than Rydia, and his wisdom growth is much higher than any of the other black magic using characters. So he's going to be, with that Stardust Rod, he's going to be a real powerhouse for probably all of these runners for the duration of their run. I'm sure he's going to be like the main damage dealing character, even if they find another, character like an Edge or a Fusoya or anybody else. That Pelham is going to be the main source of damage for most of their run.
Oh yeah, I've seen people go and take just a Pelham and one or two other characters to Zemus and win. Pelham is that strong. Reflected Newts do a lot of work, and he is a very strong character. We do see Zilch picking up his second Porum from Hobbs. Dobbytwostep has gone and finished up Fagul, and Peasant's in a little bit of a lead, it looks like, going and doing some more looting and shopping, finding some Star Bells in Troya, but generally getting ready.
Peasant's fighting the true final boss, which is the NPCs of this game, getting blocked from exiting Troya here by the lady who blocks the exit to town there, going in and getting some arrows instead, and resetting her position so that he can actually leave town.
Yep, the NPCs don't really care about what you need, and if you try and push her, she'll just walk straight down to the exit and prevent you from leaving ever.
Yep. Peasant's
go back.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, to answer a question from chat, the reason why you see so many twins in this seed is we have a certain flag set. We have the C flag, which randomizes characters, and the CN flag, which means that not all characters are guaranteed. So we're not guaranteed to see some of the other characters, as we're definitely not going to see all of them with 3 forums in the seed.
Yes, definitely. It's possible twins could be the only characters. Unlikely. We'll probably see a few more in some of the other spots, but yeah, we definitely have kind of a twin percent going on right now. And we see Peasants going back into Baron now to try and pick up the other Porum that we have seen, finding both of the Mylons, Mylon Z, and now we're finding Mylon and Friends in the second Baron in spot. Both of these are going to be fairly easy fights.
Yep, the elements, not terribly hard, very easy to kill quickly because they only have 400 health in that spot, and their HP is split between 2 entities, actually. That's because the elements fight in its Manila location has too much health for what they actually wanted, so they just made it so when you did enough damage, you'll go and see the next forms. But if you do too much damage at once, you'll just see Mylon. And having a little bit of trouble here getting through this Mylon, but we see him, Mylon's speech of, "Oh, my body falling apart," not quite serving him as well today, and Hudson's gets through, and we'll see what he gets as reward from this Baron infight, aside from Porum. He's getting the hook. Peasants doesn't have the rat tail. He doesn't know that's on the table. If he dives this too quickly, he might miss something important because he still has not done antlion.
Ooh, that's very true. And right now, based on the information that we have, this is looking like a hook seed, but we still haven't seen what is up on Mount Ordeals. Not sure if anybody's going to want to go there since we don't have a character like Cecil or Atella that would benefit from climbing the mountain. But there is also that rat tail that the other runners have that can be turned in potentially for a magma key or some other chain that could lead to a magma key.
Yep. We'll know for certain if Hook is a logic route underground because under these flags, there are 3 bosses that cannot go and block your path underground. Golbez, Wyvern, and Valvalis. Currently, this boss was only blocked by Elements and Mylon, so it's definitely the logic path underground at this point.
Yeah, although there could still be a magma key somewhere. It's possible that both of them are available. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that both of them could be available on the overworld and not blocked by any of those bosses.
You are correct. That can happen. We have had a race in the past where there's an open hook seed, but if you looked around a little bit, you'd find a mist dragon just sitting out there in the world waiting. And what mist dragon is under this flag set is when you kill it and go back to mist, you'll find a key item, and that key item was the magma key. So it is very possible to go and find a stray magma key somewhere. And you could even find a magma key up on Ordeals behind Valvalis, Wyvern, and Golbez because they can't block the only way, but they can block a way if the other way is free.
Very true. And I know that someone has checked for Mist Dragon in the waterfall near Damsian, but I don't know if anybody has checked the actual vanilla Mist Dragon spot near Mist Village.
I believe you're correct because I haven't seen anyone check there either. There's a lot to check, and they have been a lot of shopping right now. Shopping, clearing Fabul, clearing Antlion, and everyone's now going to be back on a similar path with dobbytwostep clearing up that Baron Inn, about to get his hook as long as everything goes well for him.
Yeah, a lot of shopping usually in the first, 10, 15, 20 minutes of the game, getting all the shop checks and free item checks in the overworld. And then Peasants did just find the rat tail and is the only one so far that has the hook. Now, Dobby's probably going to be getting the hook in just a moment here. So we're probably going to find, Peasants is going to turn that rat tail in right now.
Yeah, we'll see what we get from that. And Peasants also found a cursed ring in Antlion Cave. He has minus 15 to all stats, which might not sound the best, but the way agility works in this game, you can manipulate it to your advantage. And we have a darkness crystal from Rat Tail. This is interesting. Darkness crystal grants us access to the moon, the final dungeon of the game, and it's very hard, but you can grind and get a lot of experience up there.
Yeah, definitely. And although we've talked about this being a hook seed, it's also possible that the magma key could be up on the moon. So if somebody really wanted to go up to the moon, do some grinding, try to take on some of those moon bosses, they could potentially find the magma key and an alternate way to the underground up on the moon, which it looks like Peasants is at least going to go up to the moon and maybe check the item shop that's up there, the Hummingway item shop, and also the character that's on the lunar dais.
Oh yeah, he does have Artemis arrows, so that makes fighting those gold dragon fights up there not entirely out of the question. But if he doesn't have Berserk, he might run the risk of losing his arrows. If you have Berserk, you can go and apply a little glitch where if the character's turn never comes up, it'll only increment your arrows down by 1 until it gets the last one, and it can't go and remove the last one until that character's turn comes up. If they're Berserk, they never get a turn, they're just shooting. You have unlimited arrows while they're Berserked. In most cases. Sometimes the glitch doesn't quite work the way as expected.
Yeah, it's a very nice way to grind on those gold dragons if you have those Artemis arrows. And like you said, they don't have Berserk yet, but those Porums get Berserk pretty early, around level 18, I think. And so one fight, even if they do like the hairdryer's trapped chest fight, they probably would get Berserk on Porum and then be able to do the gold dragon grind after that.
Indeed, and it looks like Peasants isn't quite ready to go to the moon. He's still doing a bit of shopping. He might be looking for sirens because I have not seen them in shops yet. Meanwhile, Zilch is up on Mount Ordeals, and he's fighting the Dark Imps in the first slot. And you see them throwing life potions on there. Maggie, why would we throw life potions on our enemy?
So, since we've been talking about glitches so much, there is another glitch that we refer to as the life glitch, where once you kill an enemy that does not have the boss bit, which these Dark Imps don't have the boss bit, you can throw a life potion on it, and it revives the enemy, but enemies revive with 0 vitality, so it essentially revives it with 0 HP, and it's like you kill it again and you get double XP for it. So with Zilch throwing life potions on 2 of these Dark Imps, he's essentially getting XP for killing 5 Dark Imps in this fight.
Which is very helpful, and if people who are more familiar with this game are wondering, why are these suckers going around finding money when you can just duplicate items and have an infinite stack of them? That has been turned off. If you look at that G flag, we have GL, which is life glitch. We turn off other major glitches, namely the Dwarf Castle Warp glitch, the 64 floor glitch, and the item duplication glitch. Ooh, and Kanizo is in the back attack slot on Mount Ordeals. This is gonna be a little scarier for this team.
Yeah, Kanyazo is considered one of the scarier bosses. In his vanilla location in Baron Inn, most people don't think of him as being too difficult, because at that point you've got a pretty powerful Palom. You've got Tella, who's got all of his spells, so he can be casting, Ice 3, Lit 3, things like that. But Kanyazu has this wave ability, which actually does damage based on Kanyazu's hit points. And when you fight him in certain locations that have lots of hit points, that wave can do a lot of damage. Now, right here, it looked like it was doing, I think I saw maybe around 150, 160 damage, which isn't terrible. But in some spots, it can do upwards of 1,500, 2,000 damage.
Indeed, that boss can very easily destroy you. And because this is a back attack spot, you can go and dispel the waves by throwing lightning at it. But you have to be quick on that, and it's very easy to fail. But Zilch just tanks the waves, throws up viruses, and gets through that fight without any issue. Meanwhile, peasants went to the moon, got to Luna Dias, saw his character, discovered it was Edward, and immediately reset back to Earth.
Ooh, yeah. So we kind of have a reject percent with a single Palom going on here. So Palom is sort of carrying this entire seed so far.
Yeah, Palom is doing a lot of work. He has gone and he has been the DPS for this team. He's got his sisters going and cheering him on while he goes and slaughters all the monsters.
Dobby, meanwhile, sees this Edward isn't resetting out. We'll see if he is maybe wanting to access the lunar subterrane to, maybe he's going to grind. We'll see what he decides to do here. Meanwhile, we find the entire Baron army. This is the Fabul Gauntlet inside the lunar, or the Ordeals Shrine up here on top of Mount Ordeals.
Thankfully, Zilch has a stack of Thrower Rages, which you buy for 2 real bosses, Odin and Kanizo. And because you've seen both of them, I don't think Zilch is terribly concerned with just throwing them at this gauntlet.
Yeah, those Thrower Rages are available in the overworld, guaranteed as a guaranteed item in case Kanyazu is gating something important, like the hook route, and so that's why runners often buy them. But since we just defeated him, these Thrower Rages can easily be thrown here. This spot has very few hit points, around 1,000, maybe a little bit less, and so divided between all of these enemies, we can see that it's just taking down these soldiers pretty quickly.
Yeah, and you only need to go and kill the soldiers in this officer-soldier fight, because the officer will bravely and valiantly run away as soon as he's out of cannon fire. Meanwhile, we see peasantsomfg is going and getting into Baron Castle and is finding Bahamut, the person who gave us our Baron key to here anyways. I guess Bahamut really wanted us to come in and say hi.
Yeah, this is probably not going to be too difficult. Yeah, it looks like Peasants has got Star Veils, so throwing those up in case he cannot kill the Bahamut before Bahamut uses his Mega Nuke, so that's going to make this fight free.
And dobbytwostep on the moon goes to Cave Bahamut and finds Valvalis in there. Valvalis is mostly immune to magic functionally. She's when she's spinning, she's going to evade all magic, and you have a team of mages. you're not going to go and be able to defeat her fairly. So dobbytwostep trying to go and take a random encounter, taking a wipe there, and just coming back to Earth after picking up Ed.
Yeah, I'm sure our runners are not going to want to fight that boss, especially with this party. Do you happen to know, Baka, is she vulnerable to magic in that spot?
She is not. I know in the Mylan 1 spot she's vulnerable to magic. I think in the Dr. Luke A spot she's vulnerable to magic, but I am pretty certain she is not vulnerable to magic there. Meanwhile, Zilch has finished up Mount Ordeals and is heading down. I didn't see what key item he got from Ordeals, but he didn't reset out of the gauntlet fight, so he must either be wanting to find a Tella with all the spells or a Cecil ready to be a paladin.
Yeah, I think chat was saying that the item on somebody had gotten a twin harp, so I was thinking that was the item that was on Ordeals. Yeah, chat confirming that the item on Ordeals was the twin harp, and that's exactly where it looks like Zilch is going to go follow that now.
That's a pretty ambitious play from Zilch, in my opinion, because Twin Harp is the boss spot there is exceptionally resistant to magic, and you have a team of nothing but mages. You will need to go and punch through this with that samurai bow and some arrows. This might take a bit of time for Zilch, and he is going to, well, he's at the very least looting here, but if he commits in this, he may go, and if he gets value, he'll be in good shape, but if this is a spoon, it might not be the best for him.
Yeah, now if he has the samurai bow and Artemis arrows, and if his, it looks like his Porums have berserk, then at least one of the children there can, equip up and be berserked and probably be okay. It might take a little while, but at least he's got, some decent, bow and arrow equipment for that fight.
Peasant's finishing up Baron Castle, and he got a Rydia for his trouble and a defense sword. He looks like he's going back in to check the Odin spot for the boss. Not a cost that's logically able to gateway to the underground, but could still have our magma key.
Yeah, this Odin spot is very beefy. It's got a lot of hit points. Usually pretty difficult for where the runners are at this point in the game. But if it's something free, we haven't seen a water hag. We haven't seen like the Kaipo guards. It could be something doable if it's something free like that.
Yeah,
but it's a lunar boss.
Depending on your definition of free, it could be free, and it is Wyvern. Wyvern is not free.
That's the opposite of free.
I'm a free nuke to the face and trip to the morgue.
Yes.
And there's a reset from peasants. So if you're peasants, where do you go from here now? You've gone and cleared out the overworld. You know exactly where to... you're not finding the magma key, or if it's behind that wyvern, you're not getting it there. You can go up to the moon, but there's just an Edward waiting for you. Oh, looks like Peasants is going back in. He thinks he can go and take out this wyvern. Meanwhile, Zilch is diving this he's diving Twin Harp. I have it. Oh. Peasants, are you going to go and do a very, very cheeky strat?
This is very interesting, what we're seeing on Peasants' screen now. If you have Star Veils, you can reflect the Mega Nuke, but this spot has more than 99 hit points, so even a single reflected Mega Nuke is not going to be enough to kill this wyvern. He's going to have to do something else to kill this. So we'll see what his plan after the opening Mega Nuke is.
Indeed, I think I know what his plan is going to try and be. He's reflected the first Mega Nuke. He didn't get Starveil off on Rydia, but he can go and get another Mega Nuke out of this fight if he revives Rydia and has her go and cast a summon, because the programmers of this game really thought Rydia was incredibly overpowered. So if you went and came out with a Rydia on the moon, all the bosses there have counters to them. And one of the counters is you cast a summon on Wyvern, Wyvern cast Mega Nuke.
Indeed, and I've seen that strategy work. The only thing she has right now is Chocobo, and she can only cast it once because she's level 1. Meanwhile, on Zilch's screen, we've got music, so let's listen to that for a few minutes.
Sounds like the Song of Storms to me.
Yeah, very nice Zelda music today.
Oh yeah, and we see Peasants getting a bit closer. He got one reflected Mega Nuke off, but he didn't get a second and doesn't have the MP for another. He needs to go and get something out, and maybe he can go and just chip through this last bit of damage with... Oh, he's choosing to reset.
He was probably looking for like a Grimoire, because the Grimoire will summon something, and that will also trigger the counter Mega Nuke, but unfortunately he did not have a Grimoire in his inventory.
Actually, Grimoires do not trigger counter nukes. It is only the summon command. That is something I've gone and tested because I was curious about that. It's
oh,
not
interesting.
Yeah, I think Grimoires counts as spells rather than as summons, so that's why they don't work.
Interesting.
But,
okay, I actually didn't know that. I thought that it was that I had used it, but I must be misremembering. So that's good to know.
It's an extreme edge case scenario where you're trying to go and proc a Mega Nuke from a Wyvern to reflect back on its face. So that's one of those very easily understandable things is not know.
Absolutely, yeah.
Meanwhile, Zilch finding Mylon Z at Twin Harp and beating him down with Power Staffs and a Palom with a Samurai Bow and Arty Arrows, I'm thinking. And he gets through, so Zilch not taking too long, getting ready, and about to see what he's rewarded with. So
is there value at music? Showing us what the song is. Thank you, Zilch. Finds the pass, so that is going to be pretty useful. Now, we do know that there's already a darkness crystal in play, so we already have moon access elsewhere, but that pass is pretty useful for bypassing the long walk all the way down through the lunar subterrane to have to get to Zemus.
Indeed, and because we have to go to the underground to forge our crystal, even if you find both parts on the moon, you still can get value out of that pass. That saves a good 2 to 3 minutes of just going back to the moon and walking. Probably worth it for Zilch, as yeah, that's definitely not a bad pick. So we see Dobby is going into Baron now. He's going to go and find the defense sword and Redia in there. Zilch going, I believe he's going to take on Baron N now. And Peasants is clearing Ordeal. So they're all going back over each other's tracks. While we're going in doing just seeing a bit of what's already been done, we'd like to take a moment to thank our restreamer Smakey and our tracker Rinich. Thank you for helping out today. This is a big help for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And also thanks to our partners at RPG Limit Break for allowing us to restream so many of our league matches on their channel. We so much appreciate the RPG Limit Break for allowing us to use their channel to play these league matches, and without our restream team and all of our partners, we wouldn't be able to bring these league matches to you. So thanks to everybody for allowing us to be able to restream these matches.
Indeed, and give these runners a follow. They're all very good. These are the top 16 runners of Free Enterprise, and they're top 16 for good reason. Though, Peasants is taking a very Peasants is just taking a wipe to Kanizo at Ordeals. That's a bit of a time loss for him.
Yeah, we see how nasty that wave can be if you're not ready for it, or if you don't bring Kanazu's hit points down fast enough, as we had seen with Zilch earlier.
Yeah, Zilch was decided not to be afraid of the wave and just bring out all the damage he can. I wonder if Peasants is having a bit of trouble because he went and maybe he had a curse ring still on his Porum, but he didn't save after the Dark Imps fight, so he has to lose a bit of time there as well. That is a bit unfortunate.
Yeah, that's kind of a common play after a free fight like Dark Imps to not save, because it is a pretty quick fight. These are considered free fights and it doesn't take long to get through them, but then when you find something nasty like a Wyvern or a Kanazu, and you have to go back and redo it.
Yeah, and to answer a question from chat, this is the Free Enterprise Randomizer for Final Fantasy IV. This goes and shakes up all the key items, shakes up all the characters, and gives us a wide variety of way of playing this. The flags on the screen are not the only way of playing this. We have T3, which gives us some pretty good treasure, but you can play on even higher treasures where you can go and find Bahamut summons, crystal swords all throughout, and get some have a very fun time, or you can play with no treasures whatsoever and have a very hard, difficult seed that people like to play. There's a lot of ways to play this. If you go and check the, you can find our Discord, or if you go into the, I believe the site is FF4FE.com, and generate your own seeds and play.
Yeah, definitely. If you are newer or have been lurking, check out our Discord. We've got a really great online community. Looks like Invenerable just posted it in the chat there. Our Discord community is very friendly, very helpful. So if you're newer or want to get involved, come join us on Discord. We're very newbie friendly. Lots of people hang out there and love to help the newer members out, and would be more than happy to answer any questions, or if you want to run some seeds, they are happy to help you out, walk you through anything, answer any questions that you might have.
Oh yeah, this community is great. We even have this, if you're afraid of bothering people, we have a specific tab for just people being new called Newbie's Corner, so don't be afraid. Feel free. And it looks like dobbytwostep has gotten through the Calbrina fight, has found Rydia, and is going to go and pick up his defense sword. Meanwhile, Zilch is making his push into Baron Castle, while Peasants is making a much cleaner fight through Kinyazu.
Now, all of our runners have the hook, but we haven't seen any of them dive down into Cave Eblan. There's both a character available for them and, of course, a path into the underground. It is the more difficult of the two paths into the underground. If they found a magma key somewhere, all they would have to do is drop it into the well in Agart, and that would open up a path that would allow them to fly their Enterprise, the airship, down into the underground, whereas with the hook, they have to fight through two bosses. They have to walk down through Eblan Cave and then fight through two bosses to get to the underground. But I'm still surprised a little bit that none of these runners have even checked, one, what the hook character is, and because that could be, like a really powerful character, and two, what the bosses down there are, because those could be two free bosses.
Yeah, that's something that I imagine our runners are thinking, I want to just play conservatively. I don't want to worry about coming last. I'll just simply wait until I feel good about going hook, or until I have no other options, and then go hook. And dobbytwostep immediately resetting out of Y.
Yeah, don't blame anybody there for finding that Mega Nuke and not wanting to take it to the face.
Meanwhile, Peasants has gone and gotten through Kanizo, is going and taking out the Baron army. Looks like he might have used up his storages or doesn't want to use them on this. And Zilch is taking out the dolls on the throne, is about to go and get his Rydia and the defense sword. So, Dobby, are you going to go and show us the way underground, or are you going to go and look for something else to do?
Well, he's at least going to show us the character in the bed in Kaipo, which looked like it was a Tella.
It is. Tella wouldn't... If I had a standard Ruby, I'd be more than happy to pick up a Tella here, because we have a Darkness Crystal. We can go to the Giant of Babel and we can do a D-Machine grind. So I wouldn't mind going and taking that level 1 Rydia and getting her nuke.
Yeah, very true. With the way that Free Enterprise is set up and the flags that we have on for these particular sets of seeds, characters that are under-leveled get extra XP, and the runners can do what we call a slingshot, where if a character is under-leveled compared to the rest of the party, they get, I believe it's up to 5 times more XP to help them catch up. And so with that level 1 Rydia, they can slingshot her up and get lots of XP to actually surpass everybody else's levels.
Yes, it's double experience if the character is 5 behind the median level of the party, and it only comes out when you have 5 characters in your party, and if they're 10 levels behind, they get triple experience. So
okay, triple, yeah.
So yeah, and it can go when our runners get 10 key items, they'll start earning double experience. That stacks, so they can go and earn 6 times experience that way. But we do see dobbytwostep diving into Eblan Cave, checking chests along the way, and maybe he's going to go and reset out if he finds those Stalemen, or maybe he's going to start skipping now that he's this far in. Nope. But, ooh. A crystal armor there, that's an interesting piece of equipment. I consider it money because the downside of that equipment is 1, only Cecil can use it, and 2, if you cast Berserk, it doesn't work. Well, we found another Black Mage. It's still a twin. It's still mostly child percent. We also find D-Mist.
Yeah, and as we talked about earlier, that D-Mist is valuable because once they defeat that D-Mist, they can go talk to Rydia's mother, who is sunbathing in the village of Mist, and get potentially a key item from her. So this is value all around. We get another Palom, who is probably going to be very useful to them. Yeah, it looks like Dobby is trying to decide which one of their Porums to get rid of. And potentially a way underground by opening up the hook route, and then potentially a key item if they can get through that D-Mist. Now, D-Mist is in the Rubicant spot, which is going to be kind of difficult to get through with this party.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw Illusions on the overworld. Illusions being an exceptionally strong J item that casts Blink on the user. Blink goes and makes the next 2 physical attacks miss, which D-Mist will do nothing but physical attack, change into mist, wait, and then physically attack again. So it's doable, but it could be slow.
Speaking of D-Mist, we see peasants checking the vanilla D-Mist spot for value and finding Ashura sitting in the D-Mist cave.
Well, that's not the worst boss to go and find there. It's certainly not a free boss, but I would rather find Golbez there, to be honest.
Yeah, it's always nice when you find a really nasty boss in those non-required spots, and always kind of sad when you find a free boss there, because then you know you're not going to find it later on.
Oh, yeah. And we see Zilch diving down to the Odin spot. I don't believe he's gone and seen the Wyvern there yet. And Peasants going and diving into Cave Evelyn to go and get his Palom and get to see that D-Mist.
Yeah, so now that our runners have pretty much exhausted everything that they can do on the overworld, it's looking like this is going to be their way to the underground, unless anybody decides to go hunting for key items up on the moon, which they could certainly do. Both Peasants and Dobby have gotten the Darkness Crystal, and Zilch has access to it. He's got the hook and the rat tail, which is where the Darkness Crystal is. They could go up to the moon if they wanted to. They could grind. They could go take on moon bosses to see if they could find any free moon bosses, and there could be a magma key or any value up there. But this is probably the more logical route, is to dive the hook route at this point.
Yep, and we see that Zilch is going and throwing on Artemis arrows on a Porum, and I think he's going to get ready to try and take out this Wyvern that way.
Yeah, Wyvern is considered a dragon. Some dragons are not considered dragons, like that Mist Dragon that we know is in the Tower of Babel. That's not a dragon, but Wyvern is a dragon, so is weak against the dragon weapons, like the Artemis arrows. Now, the only thing is that I think they only have a stack of 10 arrows, and even if they berserk the person that has the Artemis arrows, if that person takes a nuke to the face, then they're going to run out of those arrows.
Yeah, very true. Though it looks like Zilch managed to get a Silk Web off on Wyvern, which is making him a bit extra slow, and Zilch has turned down his battle speed significantly, so it looks like he's getting close to getting through.
That's a pretty heads-up play by Zilch if he can get through this spot.
There's the wall. That Wyvern has not gone and done anything else so far, and Zilch has pulled out a fair amount. Zilch is through Wyvern. Zilch is the only runner so far to see that Wyvern and successfully kill it. That could be pretty huge for him.
Very nicely done by Zilch.
Zilch is the only runner who has done Twin Harp, and Zilch is the only runner who has done Pass. So he might look a little bit behind, but I think he's going to start catching up because he did get a good chunk of experience that will help him out in the hook route.
Yeah, absolutely. And getting a light sword, so, I mean, that's a really nice weapon if we find a Cecil somewhere, but not a key item or any kind of progression.
Speaking of finding Cecil somewhere, we found Cecil where we really don't want to see him with this party. King Queen Evelyn just wipes the party first Dark Wave. This party is going to struggle. Dobbytwostep is just saying, nope, I'm out, let's leave. So Dark Knight Cecil, he will do his Dark Wave 3 times. It will go and do a amount of damage based on the spot he's in. That spot did about 600 damage. You would need to have at least 1800 HP to survive all 3, or have some way of healing up between each wave to go and survive past that. This would be a very ugly seed if we didn't have Moon, and Dobby, I think, is going straight back up to the Moon and playing around there.
And that spot's pretty fast too, isn't it?
Yes, that is an exceptionally fast spot. We do have curse strings in play. You can go and anchor and make yourself as fast as that spot, but you're not going to go and outspeed that.
Yeah, that's a really, especially for this party, because we haven't found anybody who has any kind of significant hit point growth. If we had a Sid or a Yang or a Cecil or even a Kane, so anybody who had some kind of hit point growth, that would be much more doable. But with all these mages who have so few hit points, that's going to be a real challenge for them to get through.
Unless you keep the Edward from the Moon, because Edward can hide. Dobby has unfortunately already ditched him. So
oh no!
Position to use that.
Oh no!
Zilch and Peasants both have that option, because Zilch reset out of seeing Edward. He didn't choose or kick him. He just pretended to never see him in the first place. And Zilch has not gone to the Moon, so this is going to be interesting. There could be some pretty interesting divergence here from this.
Yeah, absolutely. We see Dobby going right back. We'll see if if he's going to go check Moon bosses or maybe do some grinding. We'll see what he decides to do here.
Yeah, I don't know if he found Siren, so he's not going to be in a position to find the fights easily, but he can find Moon fights and just get some levels here and take them out. But this is not the best position for dobbytwostep to be in. Peasants is now about to find that Dark Knight Cecil. I wonder if he's going to reset or if he's going to see that damage and go from there. Ooh, this is probably the meanest boss to have for this party. If we did not have a Darkness Crystal, this would be a very, very long, slow grind of people trying to get enough HP to survive this. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, I don't know what they would do. Like you said, curse ring, and try. You'd have to get somebody at least up to like 600-700 hit points to survive the first one. But from there, have we even seen Cure 3s available on the overworld?
Not to my knowledge. The main shop that they would be available in would be in Evelyn, and I only saw exits for sale there. So the lowest HP I think you could reasonably do this is to have one character with like 1,000 HP, which these characters aren't going to get for a very long time. And you daisy chain Cure 2s onto them, where you go, first turn comes up, you throw a Cure 2 on them, next turn comes up, the person who has the HP throws a Cure 2 after the Dark Wave, and you just hope that you don't get high rolled. I do believe Smapety, our restreamer, rolled the seed today, so thank you, Smapety. I'm sure our runners are loving you right now.
That might be an odd definition of the word loving, but yes, Smapety, our restreamer, thank you for restreaming, and thank you for rolling this wonderful seed for us.
So there's a flag in Free Enterprise that's the K exclamation point flag, which normally it is required to have a way to the underground that involves as through the overworld. No need to go anywhere else. If you have K exclamation point on, you can be required to go to the Moon to get to the underground. It feels like this flag is in place today because we have to go to the Moon to get underground, it seems.
And Dobby is taking on random encounters here. It seems like we have not found sirens yet. So sirens are probably underground. So that's going to make it even more difficult for them because they don't have a real reliable way to grind.
This seed is evil. This is fantastic. Zilch going in, getting his entire team punched into the ground by these mad ogres, and wow, this poor team of small children being forced to save the world against terrible, terrible odds.
Peasants is going back and trying that wyvern. I think Peasants has already seen the wyvern, and Peasants is like, I would rather try this wyvern than try that pain man.
Do you have another way underground? Because I don't want to go that way underground. Look, I know you have a very weird definition of bringing warmth to others, but I would really like to go through another way underground. Meanwhile, Dobby is getting single King Ryu fights and is getting some experience that way. This is not the fastest way. You obviously want the double King Ryu fights because one, it's more experience per fight, and two, you can life glitch one of those King Ryus to get to a total of 90,000 experience per fight. That's true. If Mist Dragon has value, all the runners know where Mist Dragon is. They just know it's going to be a real nuisance to go and get to it.
It would be very interesting if Dobby up here on the moon decides to check some moon bosses and finds a magma key and then skips that Pain Man entirely, also skipping Mist Dragon, and Mist Dragon has some kind of value.
Yeah, alternatively, you sit on the moon, you grind up Nuke, and then you just nuke Dark Knight Cecil rather than trying to survive him.
Oh, that's very true. I mean, at that point, you'd have enough hit points to survive if you got Palom, probably anyway. You'd have close to, anyway, enough hit points to survive if you got Palom up to Nuke. But yeah, a single Nuke would with that Stardust Rod, would do enough damage to take down that Pain Man in that spot.
Yeah, and to answer your question from chat, Demus is not the most dangerous boss in general because Demus will punch 3 times, turn into mist, wait 3 turns, turn back into mist, and punch 3 times. Just keep doing that over and over and over again. You can go and use Blink or use Illusions to just nullify 2 physical attacks. So it's not terribly hard to go and make Demus safe. It's just going to take a while because each time he turns into mist, you have to wait for them to come back. And if you're casting spells, you have to be either using 0 delay spells that are cast instantly like Virus, or very carefully timing things like your Fire 3 and Lit 3 spells so you don't miss when they're in mist form. It's not a fast fight.
Even if they don't have illusions, they can still win by a battle of attrition by lifing up. Like if Mist Dragon is punching for one-hit kills on all their party, they can just life everybody up while it's in its mist form.
Very true. And chat pointing out that Zilch is about to go and make a very painful discovery that Pain Man is waiting to live up to his name today.
Even with the extra levels that Zilch got from the Wyvern fight and now from the Mad Ogres fight, he still doesn't have enough hit points to survive the Dark Wave.
Yeah, and he's gotten all the experience he's going to get in this overworld. Meanwhile, dobbytwostep finding a good encounter, finding a double dragon encounter. So he's going to get some good experience from this. Choosing to keep his Rydia dead. I think he might be trying to prepare for a slingshot, maybe?
Either that, or maybe he's going to use her as an anchor.
Very true.
I wonder if he's going to check the bosses up here, because if he finds a free boss, like we still haven't seen King and Queen Eblan, we haven't seen Water Hag, we haven't seen Kaipo Guards, all of those would be free. And if he did any of those, one, it could be more XP for him if he found him in like the D-Lunar spot. And two, as we've been saying, if he found Magma Key or even a piece of Go mode in the Adamant or the Legend Sword, that would just put him, one more step ahead.
Indeed, this is going to be very interesting. This seed is looking to go and brutalize our runners, and peasantsomfg is deciding to join dobbytwostep down in the bottom of the lunar subterranean. He's just not interested in dealing with Dark Knight Cecil. Zilch, on the other hand, is choosing to grind on fights right there. So Zilch looks like he's going to try and push his way through this spot.
Yeah, there's some good experience to be had here. The Mad Ogres in particular are worth quite a bit, and they show up in several of the random encounters. So finding these random encounters and then just using hourglasses and the life glitch for extra XP, you can get some pretty decent XP here, but he's going to need a lot of XP to get enough hit points on all of these, or any of these children, to get enough hit points to get through this spot.
Yeah, this is not going to be a very quick thing for him. It's I understand his logic, but this is definitely, all of these are gambles. Like dobbytwostep finding Paladin at the, I believe this is the ribbon spot, or maybe it's the Paladin. I didn't see which one it was, but Peldim is a dragon. He is not immune. He will take extra damage from those Artemis arrows, but he is one-shotting all of his party. This is going to be a bit of a grind for Dobby to get through.
If he could get blinks up, yeah, he was trying. He was trying to get the blinks up because all Peldim does is physical attacks. So if he can get some blinks up, he could get through that spot, but he just didn't. He hit down and he didn't get enough blinks up in time. It looked like that was probably in the plague spot because this is the ribbon spot and this is Vega Sisters.
Yep, this is another don't punch too hard. The magic, I think, is going to be a bit unpleasant, but not exceptionally dangerous. Yeah, it's not terrible. So this should be a reasonably decent fight for him to take because he's got 2 pounds with Quake. He's going to be able to go and just take them out. He might get a bit of a grind down this actually, just because he's going to be probably killing off those first and last sisters a number of times and getting them revived. So he could get some extra experience here.
Yeah, we see, as you said, the magic is doing a little bit of damage here, but between blinking to nullify the physical attacks and then just using life potions to, bring up anybody who falls to the magic, he can probably get through this spot. Might take a little bit, but, hopefully he can get through this and see what these 2 chests give.
Yeah, and Spot has about 40,000 HP, I think. His Quakes are doing a total of 6,000 damage, 6 to 7,000 damage split across all of them. That's not the worst damage to be getting, so he should be in pretty decent shape, all things considered. Meanwhile, Zilch is going and continuing to grind in the underground fights, just like glitching these balloons, getting this Matter Black Cat double balloon fight again, and just trying to push himself that much further forward.
And Peasants has joined Dobby up on the moon and is also grinding on random encounters. Looks like, I think he's probably outside the save point right where Dobby was before Dobby went into this Mega Sister fight.
I believe you're correct. Dobbytwostep getting the first 2 sisters down, but and making sure to kill off his Rydia to not let her get more experience, and bluffing with his Palms while waiting for the next Mega Sisters to revive, it seems.
Now, we had talked about Peasants and Zilch not taking that Edward. It looks like Peasants did decide to ditch that Edward on the lunar dais because we don't see him in Peasants' party. So that could have been a potential option for him, but it looks like he has decided to just come up here and grind instead.
Yeah, that's very fair. And Zilch not turning that rat tail, not finding that darkness crystal, not knowing there's an Edward available to make this fight free. So Edward in perfect position to go and show one of the few ways he's extraordinarily useful, but not being taken advantage of this siege.
Yeah, it looks like according to the tracker, Zilch has the darkness crystal. I just don't know that he's actually gone up there and seen the character or done anything up on the moon yet. Yeah,
that's very true. So maybe he's deciding, I don't want to take this team to the moon. I would rather just try and get through here. But yeah,
it's always kind of a pain when you get all the way down to the hook bosses and you can't get through them, and then you have to make that walk of shame out of Eblin, or the Tower of Babel, and then Eblin, and have to go do something else. So he might just be trying to avoid that.
Very true. Meanwhile, we see Dobbytwostep getting through the Mega Sisters and getting a decent chunk of experience learning level 3 spells on his Palms. So he's in pretty good shape there. Learning lots of spells for all of his characters, really even getting a fair amount of experience.
Finding a package, that could be very interesting, depending on what the character is.
Yeah, that could be something where you just say, I know the package check is awful, I know it takes forever, but it might be faster for me just to go and check this. But doing a little bit of inventory rearranging, and maybe he's going to go and check out some more bosses here.
Yeah, now with these extra levels, he might be able to take that Peldim down.
Yeah, he's probably in a better position. He does have better spells. Quake will go and do work. He still has Artemis arrows and can use those. and he'll have blink and be probably more able to survive 1 or 2 punches at this point. Looks like he's going and changing his anchor from Rydia to either that form in the middle, or just choosing not to go with an anchor.
Zilch is going back into the Pain Man fight. Survives the first Dark Wave. Gets a Cure 2 off on the Palom that has the most hit points, but unfortunately does not have enough time to cure up enough to survive the second one.
Yeah, I think he's going to be in a very rough shape. He might be in a better position if he goes and switches the order so that his Palom is actually going second and a Porum is going first, so that the Porum can go and throw a higher cure on, and this high HP Palom is maybe going to go and get extra chances to heal himself. And there's dobbytwostep going back to Paladin, while Peasants looks like he took a wipe to Mega Sisters and is going back in now.
Yeah, it looks like Peasants is trying mostly the same strats that Dobby did with Quakes. And I think he also has a Sylph summon on his Rydia. I don't think he looks like he doesn't have quite as many levels as Dobby did when he originally went into this fight. So he maybe just was taking a little bit too much damage from those spells and those swings.
Very true. And Zilch taking another whip on Pain Man. So this is a bit of a grind siege. Right now, it seems like dobbytwostep is going to be in the best position just based on the levels Dobby has. He is ready to go and take out more stuff. He could theoretically just go back to Earth and go through Hook Route, but he doesn't seem to be in a terrible position to just go through these moon bosses.
Yeah, now with the levels that he's gotten, he's pretty much moon ready. So yeah, he could just stay up here and probably clear out the moon at this point.
Yeah, I think that's what he's going to choose to do. If he goes and if he just keeps getting experience up here, he'll get closer to new kind of characters. He might actually just want to go and grind up more experience for these characters and get them to that point as soon as he can. Paladin is down. That's another character check, or another key item check ready for him. Missing experience on one of his Palums, but it's a pretty low experience spot, so it's not that terrible. And he gets a tower key, so chain winning for him back on Earth.
Yeah, whenever he gets to the underground, he'll have that extra check that he can do in the underground. Oh, he forgot to turn off random encounters, so he's getting locked by a defossil there on the way back to the save point.
The stretches of no encounters letting you forget that you still have them on, technically. I have totally done that. Never. Multiple times. I think
we've all done that, yes. Zilch, meanwhile, has random encounters on as well and is still trying to get enough levels and hit points here to get through that Pain Man in the Tower of Babel.
Yeah, this Pain Man is going and putting people in very rough spots, and Dobby, I think, is definitely, with his levels, he's definitely the first ahead. He's cleared spots on the moon. peasantsomfg is going and getting through these Mega Sisters. He's down to just Cindy, but he might get a revive. Zilch, however, is behind on experience and is still just trying to go and get something going. This is going to be what Zilch really needs, is for everything to be Earth, for Full Moon to go and lead to nothing, and him to get through this Pain Man quickly.
Yeah. If he can get enough levels and then get the timing right to get through this and be the first underground, and then everything be underground, he could still pull ahead. But he's not getting as much XP on these encounters here, so unfortunately he's kind of just falling behind by virtue of everybody else getting more XP on the moon.
Very true. Dark Paladin chat pulling out a very, very mean, terrible thing that I absolutely, definitely want to see happen. Val having progression, because this is a team of mages. You're not going to be able to take out Val without some physical attack. That would be awful and mean, and I love it.
Yeah, very true. Hopefully they have that samurai bow and at least one Artemis arrow left that they can use to berserk one of these mage children up to get through that Val, if that's where any of their progression lies.
Yeah, and speaking of mean bosses to find, we find Baigen on the moon. Baigen is a real jerk because he throws out lots of physical attacks. He goes and counters any magic with wall on himself, and then he starts putting wall on your team, which can sometimes help. But if you're trying to go and reflect, blinks, or heal your characters, and he's put a wall on them, well, you're not going to be able to do much to them until they die and you revive them.
Yeah, now, if you can get him kind of locked into a position where you keep his arms down, and then all he'll do once his arms are down is he will recover his arms. So we see that Dobby waited to cast Quake until the arms had recovered, so that the Quake would target the arms. That's a really good strategy, because if you cast Quake too soon, it will only target the body and will miss the arms, and then the arms do a lot of damage, and the arms can do damage both with the vampire attack and with physical attacks. So it's really good to wait until the arms are recovered. We see him doing it again right here. Wait for that recovery, target the arms with the Quakes.
Yes, that's Blink. Dobby also showing off why Blink is such an exceptionally good spell. It goes and nullifies those 2 physical attacks. Baigen will sometimes cast Virus, but if you keep his arms down, excuse me, not Virus, Vampire. If you keep his arms down, he'll never cast Vampire. He'll only do physical attacks, and those Blinks can go and help you get through it, but you still need to get through. I think Dobby's got this pretty well unlocked, to be entirely honest. He's going and got a good cycle. He's got his Blinks up. He's got targets up that are not Palom to go and hopefully absorb some of these hits, and is taking down the arms very reliably.
Yeah, meanwhile, Peasants did get through Cindy up in the Mega Sisters fight. So he's got the main sister down. He's got one of his Porums is both muted and charmed. Both of his Paloms are kind of hurting on hit points, but I think he's going to be able to get through this. Yeah, he's got a Quake coming out now. He should be able to get through the rest of these Mega Sisters pretty easily.
Meanwhile, Zilch round up to Cure 3 on his on his Porum, so he is in good position to survive, I think. Though he is a little low on HP. And that wipes him again. If he had just single targeted one of those, he might have had a better chance of getting through.
Yeah, and I think he hesitated a little bit too long to throw that Cure 2, maybe thinking that it would go off after the Dark Wave, but yeah, he really needed that little extra HP before the Dark Wave went off.
Yeah, I think he queued up a Cure 3 and had that go off too soon, then the Dark Wave happened, so he wasn't quite ready. This is an ugly fight for him.
Ooh, Dobby is getting in a little bit of trouble down here. Took a really unfortunate wipe to that Baigen. Was doing really well, but then looks like lost his Blinks and lost all of his characters there after the arms recovered. So it looks like he's going to nope out of that Baigen for now. That Baigen is really, really rough in these high encounter spots like on the moon here.
Yeah, and Dobby doesn't really have much armor for his characters. We haven't found much of any good mage gear. There's like no tiaras, we've got a sorcerer robe, but we'd like to have another 4 of those. You'd like to go and have all of your good defensive gear in place. Meanwhile, Zilch just getting bodied by this Dark Knight, just constantly taking him down relentlessly. This is not a kind seed. This seed is out to go and crush your spirit, it seems.
Yeah, you really kind of feel for the runners when you see them just trying, with everything they've got, and they keep grinding and they keep pushing and they just keep getting rolled by these fights.
Yeah, it looks like Zilch is going to be able to get a Cure 3 off. No, wow. This Dark Knight is having none of Zilch's anything. He's just cutting down these children.
Does he have his battle speed turned down?
I don't think so, but he had that Cure 3 queued up before the first wave came out. The first wave came out, and then before Cure 3 went off, the second wave came out. There was no mercy, no hesitation from Dark Knight Cecil. He's let's just be glad this Cecil wasn't one who was in charge of burning down Mist.
Yeah, for sure.
Looks like he's going to throw Cure 2s, see if he can go get that out faster. And he's got one alive, but he doesn't have a turn to go and throw another one. He's down again.
Yeah, he was able to survive 2 dark waves that time, but still not enough time or hit points for the third round there.
Yeah, and meanwhile, we do see dobbytwostep is fighting Dark Elf. He has gone and found Dark Elf in the Wyvern spot, and Dark Elf is a partially free boss because his first form is pretty weak, and his second form is not immune to certain spells like Stop.
Yep, which we see him utilizing right now. Dark Elf in the Dark Dragon form is also considered a dragon, so we see that Dark Dragon taking lots of damage from those Artemis arrows that Porum has equipped. So he'll probably be able to get through this pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think Dobby is getting through this moon pretty well. That Baigen has stopped him a bit. He might go back to there after this, but Porum with Artemis arrows is doing work on this moon.
For sure. There's quite a few good not free, but not too difficult bosses, especially for this party. They're good to find for like the Mega Sisters were good for the Quake kids, and then this Dark Elf that's weak against the Artemis arrows. Now we only found a ninja shirt, unfortunately, up here, and we don't have a ninja to put that on. But still, we're getting XP, gaining levels. So that's kind of the main thing that Dobby came up here for, anyway.
Yeah, Dobby is definitely making good forward progress in this seed, even though he's not getting. He's got a tower key, and that's the biggest thing he has to show for his efforts. But he also has levels, which Zilch is in very rough shape. He has been spending a lot of time just trying to push through this Dark Knight. I think he's going to get through. He's throwing a Cure 2 on his bottom Palom. He's queued up another Cure 2 on that Palom, but only 600. That's a low roll on that Cure 2. He is not looking in good shape to get through this.
Ooh, that was so close, and it's just it's so heartbreaking to see him so close and yet just not quite there.
No, and we see Dobby turning back on encounters and just taking some more levels. It looks like I think he wants to get through this Baigen and is going to do whatever he needs to do it. He's still pretty far away from going and getting that double experience bonus from 10 key items, but he is still going to get good experience from.
Yeah, and I don't think he needs a lot to get through that Baigen fight. He's probably best off doing exactly what he was doing, which was the Quake strategies in order to take out the arms. Even if he got Nuke, he's not going to want to use Nuke because Nuke is going to get reflected by the wall once Baigen puts it up. So, he doesn't really need any more spells. He probably is just looking for, maybe some more hit points here.
Yeah, though, if Baigen throws out enough walls, you've got walls on yourself, you quake down his arms, you've got an open shot on his body, so maybe you can go and get some nukes off that way and speed up the fight. But it's still going to be, he's not in the worst position, I think.
Meanwhile, Zilch makes it through Pain Man, is getting the Justice speech, and we see Pain Man disappear, and Zilch is finally through this fight.
Yeah, and I don't think the free heal is going to go and be enough to encourage Zilch to do anything but run back and save.
Yeah, absolutely. We see him take that step back immediately so he doesn't accidentally trigger that fight, turning his battle speed back up. It looks like that's probably what he needed, was that he turned his battle speed down a little ways, and so now he's running back to the save point to take that safety save.
He also put his highest HP Palom in the bottom and had a Porum up top, so I think he was able to go and get a Cure 3 off, full heal that Palom, and then a Cure 2 afterwards was enough to carry him through. Very nice work by Zilch. I hope he is able to make up, because that is a very, very hard fight to get through with that team.
Yeah, so absolutely GG to Zilch for getting through that, without doing any grinding on the moon or going up to the moon or anything like that. So let's hope that this demist or this underground access is going to pay off for him.
Yeah, what Zilch needs is a pan underground that leads straight into all the parts of the crystal, getting him up to 10 key items and letting him grind very quickly, because if anything's on the moon, Dobby and Peasants are in a serious lead. And speaking of Peasants and Dobby, they're both taking on Baigen now. Dobby going back for his Quake strats and trying to get his blinks up, doing the best he can. Meanwhile, Zilch going and playing with Demist, and he's probably not going to have terribly hard times, though. Demist likes to go and punch the one Palom who doesn't have defensive gear up and is in the front row, getting ready to do some more stuff. Going down.
Yeah, now that Demist is in mist form, it's, they'll be able to blink up and life up anybody who has fallen that Palom, and then blink up everybody else. It looks like bluffing with the Palom who's still alive to get some magic power up. So as we said, this is just kind of a battle of attrition. It's going to take some time to get through it, but it's actually not nearly as difficult of a fight as that Pain Man fight that he just got through.
Oh yeah, Zilch is not going to go and have troubles getting through this fight, but he is going to be losing ground, I think, because his opponents, if or when they have to do this fight, will probably be doing this fight a lot faster.
Yeah, and we see both Dobby and Peasants just quaking away at this Baigen, taking out the arms, blinking up their party members. So Baigen is kind of a tough fight too, as we talked about, but this spot just has a lot of hit points, so it's just going to be a matter of getting through all those hit points.
Yeah, and as we can see, this spot can go and just snowball hard. If Baigen gets his arms up and lets him stay up for long, this team cannot go and survive punches. They need to go and keep those arms down and keep blinks up, which the walls make even harder because you can't go and stop the walls from coming. This spot is mean. This is almost as mean as Val.
Yeah, and it doesn't really affect this party, but the reflected reflex that Baigen does can be really annoying, because if he walls himself and it bounces onto one of your party members and you have a blink queued up on that person, then the blink will reflect off of your character onto Baigen, and if you have anybody berserked or using melee attacks, then Baigen will be blinked, and your first two next two swings against Baigen will miss because of that reflected blink.
And I just saw a small little advantage Dobby got from leveling. While Paloms aren't going and gaining quakes, Rydia did, so she can throw out some extra damage, but not enough to take out the arms, which is a bit unfortunate.
Oh yeah, that is unfortunate, but it looks like Peasants did get through that fight and is rewarded with an Excalibur. So it's a nice holy sword, but not the holy sword that we're looking for.
That's a little unfortunate. It's still some experience which this party is going to want. They are getting very close to those high level spells. Meteor and Nuke will be quite helpful. But if Moon has nothing, that's a lot of time, and Zilch can go and maybe pull something out here. Everything's in the underworld.
Yeah, so far that tower key is the only thing that we've seen that that can really lead to anything. Now, we do still have the Pale Dim spot that's at the beginning of the lunar subterrane, and of course there could be some value in Cave Bahamut that is guarded by Valvalis.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of runners who are going to say, I'm doing Valvalis last. This team is awful for taking out Val. Dobby is through, though. Dobby's finished, and Dobby is done with the lower part of the lunar subterrane with, again, only the tower key to show for it.
Yep, Peasants is having to double back to do the Wyvern spot, which Dobby's already done, so we're probably going to see Dobby exiting out now and then going back in for the Pale Dim spot.
Yeah, Dobby catching up pretty well. He was more than one or two bosses behind Dobby when they were at this. He is a bit lower level for sure, but he's still going and catching up on Dobby. Meanwhile, Zilch is still slugging through Demist, getting through, doing his best, and trying to take out this rather tanky Dragon of Mist.
And it looks like Zilch did get through. We see the crumble, and Zilch is our first runner into the underground for what that is worth. So we'll see what he decides to do now that he has gotten underground access.
1 hour, 16 minutes, and 15 seconds about is the first runner underground. This is definitely not a usual seed, but Zilch needs to commit hard to this underground. If Moon has anything, he is in very dangerous position.
And he's got now the D-Mist that he can turn in. Let's see if he checks what the boss at the top of the tower is here. It looks like it is CPU.
Another one of those bosses you just hate to see with a team of mages. We at least have Rydia with Sylph who can go and pierce the wall that CPU keeps up, but that's not a very fast spot to do, and he doesn't have the tower key. He's not going to find it, so he doesn't have a great incentive to go there. Meanwhile, dobbytwosteps finding the free boss on the moon, the King and Queen Evelyn.
Yeah, this is probably the freest of all free bosses. Even with Water Hag, you have to punch it, but it's gonna punch it back. It's gonna punch you back before you punch it 3 times. And a couple guards, if you're not fast enough with getting like an hourglass off, they can punch you. These guys, all they do is this Fire 1 and Fire 2 for very minimal damage, as we see, 12, 20 points of damage. And then if you just wait long enough, they become conscious and then they disappear.
Yeah, this boss is, I don't think I've ever found a spot where I could ever really call them dangerous or even threatening. They're just there to go and give you a free breather.
I have heard that King Queen Evelyn at Antlion Cave with a double Rydia start.
I'm sorry, but that is.
That's a nice stat stick. I mean, now we've got both a Stardust Rod and a Life Staff for our multitude of Palums and Porums.
And we find Cure 3s, Sirens, all sorts of great stuff in here. I imagine our runners would love to have seen this, like these items anywhere but underground.
Yeah, that shop was loaded. Also finding some pretty nice gear. I saw a wizard hat and some other nice items down there. So I missed what the actual key item was. I don't see anything lit up on the anything new lit up on the tracker. So maybe it wasn't an actual key item.
Yeah, I didn't see what Dobby got from there. I know that these rewards from the free chest in Feymarch was a ninja sword.
Yeah, Murasame is what our tracker Rinit is confirming. Ooh, Smapety, you just keep pulling the punches. We see a Golbez and a Lunar boss down here in the Feymarch bosses, and we're seeing that the Lunar boss here is Plague. Now, Plague isn't too terrible, one of the easier of the Lunar bosses, so it looks like Zilch is going to try to take this down.
Yep, Zilch reflecting account, going in some free time on there, and she's going to go and start throwing out slinging spells to try and get through it. That Golbez is going to be probably a bit annoying. I wonder if Zilch is going to take that on now.
Meanwhile, Dobby has come back down to the blue planet and is going back down through the hook route. With all the levels that he got on the moon, is probably not going to have too much trouble getting through the bosses here. So he's going to be joining Zilch in the underground very shortly. The only thing that he got on the moon that is really worth any progression is that tower key. So we'll see if he decides to follow that right away. But there is still that Valvalis up on Cave Bahamut up on the moon that nobody has checked yet either.
Yeah, I expect people will go to Dwarf Castle trying to find a melee fighter if they want to take care of that Valvalis. And yeah, I expect Dobby is going to be able to go and take care of this fight much more easily than he was in the past. But I have one question I'm curious about. Does he have... So for people who ever wonder, why do so many people rag on Porum? You know what spell Porum does not have at level 47? Cure 4.
Cure 4. Yep. She has a life staff, though.
Yeah, she has a life staff that'll help her go and throw out that Cure 3 that hopefully people will survive through because they still don't have 1800 HP at level 47. But Porum learns Cure 4 extraordinarily late. Dobby has cleared almost everything on the moon and taken extra encounters and still does not have Cure 4 on Porum. This is... blah.
I mean, that's why she was part of Reject Percent, right?
Oh yeah, she is not a good white mage, unfortunately, but he does go and have the healing power to just get through this fight without any real trouble. Radia goes down, but there's no experience here. We just get a little speed.
Meanwhile, Zilch is in this plague fight and is showing an interesting strategy where he put a wall up on one of his characters and is reflecting plague's count off on himself. Now, it looks like, I don't know if he's going to actually try to get the count death with plague, because I did see that he's still doing damage with his characters, casting viruses and such with his characters, but that is a way that you can potentially kill plague in certain spots.
Indeed, but another way you can avoid plague killing you with count is if you get your relative agility up high enough and have enough actions taking place, the game kind of gets overloaded and can't go and keep up with everything and doesn't really remember that count happened. Ooh. Looks like Zilch tried to go and arrow glitch with Rydia, and that did not work. That last arrow is consumed, and now Rydia is just punching for puny damage.
Yeah, and that's really unfortunate if that was his last Artemis arrow. And that's doubly unfortunate if that Valvalis is going to be needed and he doesn't have any other good arrows.
Indeed, and speaking of Valvalis being needed, peasantsomfg went down there, saw Valvalis, and said, yes, I will take this fight with my group of small children. How bad could this possibly be? We're about to find out because he is going in. Peasants is not leaving the moon without taking out Val, it seems.
Oof. It's this is going to be kind of a scary fight. We'll see how he decides to approach this, because I don't like we said earlier, none of his spells are going to hit her in this position.
Yeah, unless I've seriously misremembered, and this is a spot that doesn't have perfect magic evade, and yeah, this will be interesting to see. Best of luck to you, peasants. I am hoping to see something great out of this. It hits. This is not an immune to magic spot. Slow hit.
Wow, yes, he threw a Silk Web out, and that did hit. So we'll see if he's able to land any black magic with Palin here. Meanwhile, Zilch gets through the plague fight and gets an Earth Crystal for his trouble.
Well, that's if he really wants to go and get a party of non-children, that's one great way to go and find it. And he is taking some very fun strats, using Piggy to go and avoid the Paralyze with Golbez. So a little fact about this game, there's this thing called the status priority, where if you have certain statuses, you can't actually get afflicted with other statuses. One of the most common that you see is if you're poisoned, you cannot be berserked. In this case, if you're piggied, you can't go and be paralyzed. So Zilch can go and have his characters get killed off, but he'll keep his turn, so he can go and throw a Star Veil as soon as the 3 deaths are out, and be in better shape to take care of this Golbez, because I don't think he's going to be fighting fair. He's going to be hopefully expecting Golbez to do most of the heavy lifting in this fight.
Yeah, this was a strategy that was fairly recently discovered, or at least kind of brought to light. There are several statuses, I believe, that kind of override Paralyze. I think Piggy, Mute, and maybe Venom. So if you have any of those statuses on your characters at the start of this fight, the hold will not take place, and as we see, he's able to get that Star Veil off very quickly on one of his characters.
Indeed, and yes, that's definitely, that might go and help him out. Peasants is giving Val another shot. Meanwhile, dobbytwostep is underground on his heels. Let's we're gonna see where he goes first, because he is not gonna be impeded by anything, I feel.
Looks like he might be doing some shopping. He's got tons and tons of gold after all the grinding and fights that he's done up on the moon, so he can buy pretty much whatever he wants at this point.
Indeed, he's when he goes underground down to the land of summoned monsters and finds the shop there, he is going to be both very happy and very annoyed. And he validates his run by showing us that the job dwarf is a clinical dietitian today. Zilch going in, still trying to get another character up for this Golbez fight. Wants to go and get another Star Veil off, but not really having a lot of luck. That first Star Veil, I think, is getting close to the point where it would run out, but if he's never getting a chance, it seems.
Yeah, it's nice to have that second character in case the first one runs out, just as kind of a safety. But the Golbez is being kind of trolly and just being like, nope, I'm not going to let you get a second character out.
Yep, and Dobby going, checking the Dwarf Castle shop, finding nothing he's particularly interested in, and comes to Dwarf Castle fighting a moon boss. I believe, unless I'm terribly mistaken, this is going to be D-Lunars? No, excuse me, this is going to be Ogopogo. We found D-Lunars.
Zilch getting that second character up just in time, since the first Star Veil that he had up looks like it wore off and he lost that character. But he was able to get a Star Veil off on that second character now.
And looks like he wants to get that. He wants to have two characters up at all time, just to not rely on having a Star Veil up to get through this. Though I think Golbez has done a fair amount of damage to himself. He might be pretty close to being done. Meanwhile, we find Ogopogo in the Dwarf Castle spot, only up a Star Veil and reflecting Lit 3's back on him. Lit 3 doesn't do extra damage, but it's still a good spell and hits hard enough that Ogopogo is not going to survive many of these.
Yeah, and needing to reflect it off of his own party members, because Ogopogo will counter direct magic with a blaze counter, which is pretty nasty. So really a heads up play by Dobby here, using reflect strats to avoid their attack.
Indeed. Fun fact, if you use lightning on him, he's not actually vulnerable to lightning. He's just making fun of the fact that you go and think he's like Leviathan and will cast weak instead of blaze. Sometimes that can be helpful, but usually not terribly. And Dr. Luge is the second boss in Dwarf Castle, and who is our character going to be?
Ooh, that's a Fusoria. So we still have a mage percent party going on here, but now we have an old man to replace. Looks like he's going to replace his Iridia.
That old man comes with nuke, so I don't think he's going to feel too bad about it. Meanwhile, Zilch is through Golbez. Let's see if he gets anything great for a reward. And he gets Adamant. Golbez is required. Zilch, the first runner to find a part of Go mode.
Very nicely done by Zilch, and nicely done to take on that Golbez at all, because I'm sure some people would just see that Golbez and nope right out of that.
Yeah, that's something. You don't have moon levels. You've just gone and gotten through, barely through Beamist. This is something I can see not wanting to go and stick around too long for, but it's looking more and more likely that we're going to find legends somewhere underground, because the only place you can be from the moon is either Val or that tower key, and Dobby might go and be showing that sooner rather than later. And speaking of Val, Peasants is going and doing his best to get through this fight. He is throwing up blinks, he's dealing with the rays and the petrification, but this does not seem like it's going very quickly for him.
So, question in chat about the Dwarf Castle glitch, which we talked about briefly before this started. So, yes, there is a new glitch that has been discovered pretty recently, where if the character from Dwarf Castle is kept in the middle slot and you have a Iridia in your party, use either the Sylph summon or the Odin summon, and the Odin summon misses, then the character from the Dwarf Castle that's in the middle slot in your party will get Iridia's MP minus the MP that was used by that summon. So yes, Fu could have benefited if they had kept that Iridia in their party.
Indeed. Thank you for that explanation. And while that was happening, Peasants found legend behind Val. This is pretty major. Dobby, I don't think is going to go back there anytime soon. Zilch, I don't know how he's going to approach this moon, but Peasant is most likely in the lead. He has to go through that underground, but this is pretty huge. We know where the crystal is.
This is an amazing scene. Both halves of the crystal being gated by two of the nastiest bosses, Golbez and Valvalis, in the game.
And this means we know where everything else is bait. Sheila is bait. Tower is bait. Even Twin Harp we know is the past, so there's no hope of getting any return on value if you do not go and kill Valvalis and Golbez. This seed is evil.
Yes, this is going to be a real nail biter to see where our runners go and who manages to get both halves of the crystal first.
Yeah, this is who Dobby making the very reasonable play of, this is Val, I have a team of mages, I don't feel like doing Val with a team of mages. Peasant's deciding YOLO and is rewarded for it. I have no idea where things are now, because this is a seed.
So Peasants, now having completely cleared the moon, is now diving down through the hook route. This will be his first time underground. He's got plenty of levels. Just like Dobby, he's probably not going to have much trouble getting through the bosses here at this point. We'll see where he decides to go. He also has the tower key, so he could be following Dobby up into the tower. But he's going to have the entire underground wide open to him at this point.
Oh yeah, the worst thing that can happen to him is he gets distracted by everything but Golbez underground. And he might feel like going to Golbez because he has moon levels, he's feeling fine. Skipping Dwarf would be a little pleasant for him because he would go and miss that Fu, but he's got some high level mages already. I don't think Fu is that powerful for him at this point.
Yeah, and Zilch, meanwhile, the other one of our runners who has the other half of Go mode, has got so much else to do, both on the moon and not, that he may see that Valvalis whenever he does get up to the moon and just say, nope, not going to do wait. So yeah, it could be quite a while before we see any one person getting both halves of Go mode here.
On the flip side, if Zilch goes and finds melee fighters here, like if he finds a Cecil, I believe he has a Holy Sword. No, excuse me, the Holy Swords are on the moon. He does have a Defense Sword from Baron. So a Kane or a Cecil here would be enough to give him a melee fighter that would, maybe he thinks he's behind, decides to go and check Cave Bahamut first, and takes on that Val because he'll have a melee fighter, figuring my opponents might not have this. To answer a question from chat, there are technically 4 items required to go and beat the game at this point. The crystal is forged at Kokol Smith and is required in order to go and reveal Zemus' true form. To get the crystal, you need to find the Legend Sword and the Adamant to forge into the crystal. As such, the Excalibur that's normally there is thrown into our key item pool. And then you still need to find a way underground, which the hook has provided, and a way to Zemus, which both the Darkness Crystal and the Pass provide.
Right, so the 2 items that are needed to create the crystal are the Adamant and the Legend Sword. We need a way underground, and we need a way to the moon. So far, everybody has some part of that puzzle, but nobody has everything at this point.
Yeah, Dobby has the most levels, Peasants has the Legend Sword, and Zilch has the Adamant. And that Adamant was not in a kind spot. That Legend Sword is in an even worse spot. This is going to be very, very hard to figure out where to go from here. Yeah,
and with both items being guarded by those 2 really rude bosses, nobody's going to want to do either of those in any quick order, because both of those bosses are super rude. So it's not going to be uncommon for them to see those bosses and just kind of dope out for a while. Now we do see an edge up here on Zilch's screen at the top of the Tower of Zot.
We do have ninja swords. I think Edge is going to be an addition to Zilch's party. that could be huge for Zilch. That could go and really get him to go to that Cave Bahamut and take out Val quickly. But we'll see who else he gets here. Well, it's another Porum. So Edge is in addition to this party. Porum is... Do you want a fresh one?
Another question in chat, where was the pass? The pass was at the Cave Magnus behind Twin Harp, yes. And so far, Zilch is the only one who has done that.
And Zilch is looking at his party to figure out which Porum he wants to replace, thinking hard, thinking long, and he is taking an edge. He is going to have a melee fighter and is going to be in position to probably take down Val better than anyone else, though Peasants has already done it, so this is tight. This is going to be very hard. It's all depends on where Zilch goes next. Meanwhile, dobbytwostep is in Feymarch. He's finding that Murasame. He's going and checking. If he goes and takes out these bosses, he'll go and get his adamant and will be one step closer to go mode. Also finding the shop he probably wished he saw sometime sooner.
Looks like he did find a pink tail. That must have been, I think that was from the tower key spot.
Yes, I believe you're right. I believe Pinktail was from Tower Key, and I don't think he got anything terribly rewarding from Tower itself. Speaking of towers, Zilch finds Rubicant at the Tower of Zod. I think Rubicant is going to take a nap very quickly.
Yeah, with level 3 spells, Ice 3 coming out, yeah, Rubicant's not going to last very long here.
Well, at least he got to go and show off that very fantastic leg, and, you know, always a reminder, don't skip leg day, kids.
Absolutely. Peasants, meanwhile, is in the Demist fight. You know, just even though he's got the levels, still has to wait for Demist to reform into the dragon before he can actually damage it. I'm sure he'll be through this fight pretty quickly here.
Indeed, I don't think he's going to take very long, and the real question for Peasants is, where do you go? If you go and get rabbit holes, you're going to give up your lead, but if you go straight to Feymarch and take out those bosses, you're going to go and be in good place. And Zilch finding the pan from Tower of Zod, Earth Crystal. I believe he got that Earth Crystal from the Dark Elf, or excuse me, from Plague down in Feymarch.
Yeah, that's the fight that Dobby is in right now.
Zilch is at 9 key items. One more, he's going to be gaining double experience. That may push him to the moon and just start trying to go and clear more of that.
And he's going to go follow up on this pan right away. That's not at all uncommon. The pan, I don't know if he's done Sheila 1 yet, but the pan alone will give him 2 key items, one from the Sylphs, and then one once he turns the pan into Sheila. And if he hasn't done Sheila 1, he'll actually get 2 key items from Sheila.
Yeah, the pan is a very high density check, and it's reasonably quick. It does require a walk down to the bottom, access to the underworld and whatnot, but it's a pretty high priority check in my.
Now this could lead to another rabbit hole. If he gets something like Luca Key here, you know, he could go follow that.
Zilch
he has a Luca Key.
I don't think Zilch has any rabbit holes left to find. The only rabbit hole he hasn't checked is Luca Key. That leaves all the moon because Tower Key is up there. He could do Keyless Tower and not be rewarded for it, but there are no more rabbit holes to find. We have found all of our fetch quest items.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Meanwhile, peasantsomfg is through and is now underground. It is, depending on where he goes, this will go and matter very heavily for him. Meanwhile, Dobby has finished off Plague and is going to get his Earth Crystal now.
We'll see if he decides to go for that Golbez fight while he's down here.
I can't imagine him leaving, but maybe he's seeing it's an hour 40. No one's done. What is going on? What am I doing? But Zilch turns in that pan to Sheila and gets a Sand Ruby for it. That puts him at 10 key items. The Sand Ruby character was a Tella with weak, so maybe he wants that, but I think he might decide to just go straight to the moon and go from there.
Well, Dobby is cabining up, so and saving, so that's a good indicator that he's going to go back down and go for that Golbez fight.
Looks like it to me. Meanwhile, Peasants is going straight back up and checking Demus. He's got one part of go mode and is very inclined to go and find out what the other one is. Zilch going back down underground, I believe he's going to check his Luca key now, see if that gives him anything. There he is, parking in front of the sealed cave, and Dobby2Step going into that Golbez fight.
So the nice thing about Luca Key is the cave itself is pretty long. You do have to walk all the way through it, and then if you get something that you want to keep, you do have to walk out because you can't exit out. But you get the key item before you have to fight the boss. So if you get something that you don't need, like a non-key item, or maybe they get the spoon, something that doesn't actually lead to progression here, they can reset out. They don't need to keep it. They don't need to fight the boss. So that's why they save right outside the cave here, so they can just save scum out if they don't need to keep the item, which we know it's not going to be progression, so that's probably what he's going to do.
Yep, and he doesn't have to check the boss because Demus has been found and gave a white spear, so Zilch is just going to take a quick run, see that he's not getting anything he needs or is going to potentially need, and will just leave, I expect.
Yeah, I can't imagine what this would be that he would keep. We know he's already got the pass. We know there's no Demus in play. He's already got all the fetch quest items, except for the tower key, which we know is up on the moon. So yeah, I can't imagine what this would be that he would keep. I don't think that there's a weapon or anything that he would want to keep at this point.
Yeah, even if this was a crystal sword, you don't have Cecil. Why would you care about having that fancy, dangerous artifact?
Right. Dobby, meanwhile, did not do the status priority trick that Zilch did, but still is managing to get Star Veils up on his characters here, and looks like he got a Berserk off on one of his forms so that he can be plinking away for some extra damage as well.
Yep, and that might go and keep that Star Veil up forever, so he's not really going to be too worried. I think he's reflecting some spells with his Foo, but I think he's going to get through this Golbez fight pretty reliably. Meanwhile, Zilch is going back into Dwarf Castle to go. I believe there was something in the item shop he must have wanted. But I think he's getting ready for a moon trip.
Yeah, he got a spoon from the Luca from the sealed cave. He has a edge, so he could have kept that to dart, but I'm sure he didn't want to have to deal with whatever the boss was and then walk all the way back out of there.
And Zilch did not do Dwarf Castle, so he's going to go and pick up a Foo here very quickly and put him in better shape to take out that moon. Meanwhile, Peasants is clearing tower because he has that tower key. The longer he spends not going to Fame March, the more time he has to let his opponents catch up to him. But this race is coming down to one question. How quickly do Zilch or Dobby2Step go to Cave Bahamut and get their Legend Sword from Val?
Well, he's noped out of it once already. I suspect he's probably going to full clear Earth before he decides to go back up there.
I suspect you're right, which is going to go and turn the question to how quickly does Zilch go to Cave Bahamut? Does he try and full clear Moon before getting what he needs, or does he go and take a gamble, figure it's got to be somewhere that no one likes, it's got to be behind something no one likes, and takes on that Val?
Dobby gets through the Golbez fight and gets his adamant, so he's halfway there.
He's got he's cleared Dwarf Castle, he's cleared Tower, he hasn't done Sheila 1 yet, he has an Earth Crystal to turn in. Otherwise, he's doesn't have that many checks left to do on Earth. He's pretty close to being done. So we'll see how quickly this is going to be a real race. Like, Dobby2Step, I think, is going to 28 out of 28 this seed, and it's Zilch needs to go and kill Val before that happens.
So if you're at an hour 45 and there are no dot dones, what does that tell you? I mean, a lot of times these seeds they can take this long, but sometimes they, we can see them done in an hour 15, an hour 30. I know we had a really difficult boss guarding Hook, so maybe all the runners think that that's what it was, and that it just took everybody else that long just to get through the Hook route. But are they thinking that it's at a difficult, that everything else is at a difficult spot? What do you think our runners are thinking at this point?
I think Val is waiting on dobbytwostep's mind very hard. It looks like he's coming here and just doing some grinding. It looks like he wants to get his party ready to have nukes and just tear through whatever is left. But whatever this is, it's going to be hard to metagame. I think Val is going to be sitting on everyone's mind, either that or the moon chain. Dobby knows the moon chain is not the answer. Peasants is going and turning in that tower key now, I think. And this is, unless did Peasants take a wipe? He's going back up the tower.
Oh, ooh, I don't know. Yeah, I guess I wasn't paying attention to his screen. It was Ogopogo up here. Was that Ogopogo up here?
Yes, you're correct. It was Ogopogo up. No, it was CPU up here. Ogopogo was in Dwarf Castle.
Right, yeah. Zilch was fighting Ogopogo. Did he see the item and nope out? I don't know why you would have done that. Now he's running back up here, though.
Yeah, I don't think he got through the fight. I think, yeah, he didn't save at the top, but yeah, he had to. I don't know what happened to his fight there. He must have gotten a little too aggressive, gotten some Globe 199s, and then wasn't able to recover.
I did see, I think, some meteos and some like some quakes on his side. So if he if he was using, I guess he doesn't have meteor, but yeah, if he was using quakes to multi-target the entire group of the orbs here, and then he was getting eaten by the Globe 99s, the result of both of the attacker and the defender being down, then that could wipe his party pretty easily if you're not careful.
Yeah, very true. This is it's a slow boss that when you try and go fast is very, very good at just destroying you. Meanwhile, we see Zilch going and rearranging his Fusoya spells, exiting out, and the only check he has left on Earth, I believe, is Keyless Tower. So where is Zilch going to go? Is he going to go Tower or is he going to go Moon? Looks like he is going Tower. Yep, there he goes. He's going to go and check the CPU, so not getting to Val, not getting that done. Peasants taking time on the CPU, giving Dobby has finished his grind, is going. Looks like Dobby is going back up overground. He's either going to check the Earth Crystal in the spots there, or he's going to go back to the moon and try and take on Val.
Yeah, I don't know that he would have needed to grind for Earth Crystals, so he's gonna go churn and demist. He hasn't done that yet because he hasn't been overworld at all since he's gotten through the underground. But with that little bit of a grind that he did, that almost indicates that he's back up to the moon.
Either that or he's just playing on safe, scumming whatever he finds to go and just keep going out. He finds his white spear. He knows he doesn't have a cane. But yeah, where does he go from here? That's the big question that's going to go and determine where if he goes back to the moon, he will go and be able to take first place if he kills Val. Everyone else is slowly catching up. Peasants has gone and finished off CPU. Zilch is finding CPU now and getting ready to go into that fight. He's going to find out it's nothing he needs. This is out 1 hour 49 minutes. I believe this is going to be I know this is going to be our latest first place clear in any league match. No one's done yet. Everyone has to be asking, what is going on?
We haven't seen. Oh, there's the magma key. Was magma key from the top of tower?
I believe so, because Dobby and now Peasants have it.
Okay, so yeah, there wasn't a magma key available anywhere that they could have gotten it without diving through Hook.
Yep, so that answers one question. So everyone knows everyone went through Hook. The real question is, who went and did Moon first? Dobby is coming back to Wyvern. He never cleared him, unlike Zilch and Peasants. He's going to go and discover that Wyvern just has the lightsaber and doesn't have what he needs. Peasants is the one I think is the least likely to get a full 20 out of 28. Zilch might go and avoid it if he goes straight to the moon, or straight to Cape Bahamut instead of full clearing moon. But Dobby, I think, is in very, very, very likely to go in just 28 out of 28 the seed, and he's still in position to win it, as his opponents have not found what they need yet.
Yeah, the grind, I had forgotten that Dobby hadn't done this Wyvern, so the grind was likely to get nukes for all of his Palums here, so that he could reflect nukes and whites, it looks like, even too. So yeah, that's what he's doing here to beat this Wyvern.
And that is Zilch 100% complete with Earth. He's, I believe he was banking pretty hard on Smapety rolling Moon Haunted Seeds and not getting rewarded, so he's now spawning his big whale and going to the... Meanwhile, Peasants' finish up tower is going to go and get his pink tail. Don't know if he's going to bother turning that in. dobbytwostep in the meantime finishes Baron, sees that it's nothing, and is going to the Twin Harp and Power of Zot locations, I believe. This is Zilch. Where are you going to go on the moon? The normal logic says you go for the highest density of items and you clear bottom up, but you know it is an hour 52 that you are first going to the moon. How likely do you think on the seed that you spent 20 minutes grinding out that Dark Knight Cecil fight, you need to go somewhere else? This is the big question we're asking. This is the big question we want to see Zilch ask, and we want to see what his answer to it is. We're going to see it now.
Yeah, and we talked about at the beginning of the race, these runners, maybe having to make the big plays, the unusual plays in order to progress and not take the third place finish here. So yeah, we'll see what he decides to do.
He's lining in front of the Crystal Palace. He's checking his menus. He's getting ready. Where is he going with this? That is the big question. He's curse ringing Porum. I think he's getting ready to just go straight down into this. Meanwhile, dobbytwostep is getting music. If we can go and get the sound switched over, I'm sure our audience would appreciate getting more of that lovely Song of Storm. And Peasants is in Feymarch. Peasants is inches away from his adamant. He just needs to go kill Golbez, and he will be in full go mode.
He's already full cleared moon, so he does not have anywhere else to really go. Even if he sees this Golbez and wants to nope out of it, I think he's got a few more checks underground that he could go, but not very many at this point.
Yes, Peasants only has these spots and Sheila 1, which will go and give him the Luca key, which will go and lead to the spoon. The Earth leads to Pan, which leads to Bubkiss. And he's going straight for Golbez. If he takes this fight out, he will be our first runner in go mode. Meanwhile, Zilch is beelining to the Keldon spot with King Queen Eblin. Is he going to go and try and do top down, then reset out to Cape Bahamut, because that is his best chance at the moment? Dobby is giving us the encore, pulling up Mylon Z. Mylon Z, I do not believe is going to be very long or even get a speech out this time, because he's taking a very, very hot spell to the face. Not going and taking him out completely, though.
Yeah, this spot here in Cave Magnus has the highest magic defense in the game. So things like Nuke and the Bahamut summon will pierce it and do, still a considerable amount of damage, but we're not going to be seeing like 7,000-8,000 damage like we normally would from nukes.
Indeed, but it's still enough to get through that fight rather quickly. Meanwhile, Zilch is going in, seeing the King Queen Evelyn regain consciousness. Dobby is getting his pass. peasantsomfg has Starbells up and 2 characters alive with slinging spells, getting closer to taking out that Golbez and getting closer to his Adamant and Go mode. Looks like Peasant's play to clear through Val is really setting him up great for first place, and it's a race for second between Zilch and dobbytwostep.
Yeah, absolutely. We see these fire spells from Palom here are doing a considerable amount of damage. I believe that Golbez is actually weak against fire, if I'm not mistaken.
You are correct. Golbez is weak against both holy and fire, which conveniently enough, one of the 2 swords Cecil is likely to be using at that point is either the fire sword from the Tower of Zot Flamedog chest or the legend sword that he comes with. I think the developers want to give us a little bit of mercy after killing off the rest of the party. There's the Y. Peasants is through, about to get his rock, about to be in go mode.
Now, he does not have the pass, so he is going to have to make the long walk down through the lunar subterrane. But being the only one who's even really close to go mode at this point, he's still in very good shape to be taking first at this place. At this point.
Yeah, but almost 2 hours in, and you're getting go mode. You don't see that done, but I imagine the thoughts going through his brains. Oh God, how far behind him? How far behind him? How far behind him? Just the Peasants, you're in first right now. This has been a cruel seed. Meanwhile, we see Zilch diving to the bottom of the moon while dobbytwostep is going up Zot. He's fighting the officer soldiers. He is, I believe, the only checks he has left. He's going to find a pan will lead him to a Luca key, and then he'll have exhausted every single check in the game and will need to go and know that he needs to go and kill Val. I wonder if he's going to take this Edge, even though he's got a fully leveled party. Edge is going to be a better person to take out the Valvalis than any of your current party members are.
Yeah, I wonder if he knows that Val at that spot is can be hit by magic. Peasants seems to know, since he went into that fight and immediately started casting spells on her. Dobby might not know that, or might think that she is going to be evading spells, so that's why he avoided that spot for as long as he has.
Very true, but I think that spot still goes and has extraordinarily high magic resistance, so the physical fighter will make it easier. But yeah, he's got an edge. This is the big moment for Dobby. Does he take that melee fighter to get him through Val? Meanwhile, we see Peasants has forged his crystal and is looking at levels. We're going to see how he approaches this, where he does his grind, because I don't want to go and try and take out Zemus with this party. I would rather go and take out a party with nukes and whites than just what Peasants has right now.
I think Peasants found sorcerer robes in the item shop that opens up in Kukul's Forge, so that's very nice for this party.
That is a very good find for them. They've not found a lot of equipment for the seed, and whatever you can get is going to help in that Zemus fight. Oh yeah, right now this race is not between Zilch, Peasants, and Dobby. This race is between Zilch and dobbytwostep. Peasants it's going to take some extraordinary circumstances for Peasants to go and come in anything other than first place.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to be grinding on eggs. He's got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 items. So he's getting that double XP at this point. He'll grind up on eggs and then be doing some reflex strats against a Z. I don't know, did he just need the one? Looks like he just killed the one. Maybe that was all he needed.
Yeah, that's he definitely doesn't have a full party ready for Zemus. Maybe he's deciding he wants to go and take gold dragons because he has to walk there anyways. Let's find.
Yeah, since he doesn't have the pass, he has to walk down through the lunar subterranean anyway, and he can do gold dragon fights. Those are worth a little bit more XP, and you can life glitch them. They do take a little bit more setup. You usually are going to want hourglasses, and then something to kill them. If you've got like a dragon whip for Rydia or Artemis arrows for the twins, maybe he got weak for the Palams in that last egg fight. That would be an easy way to take out the dragons as well.
Oh yeah, I believe his Palams have weak now. That might be what he was looking for. I think weak is level 44 for him. Peasants is walking up and down the stairs, probably a little nervous at the moment because it is 2 hours into the seat and no one is done. This is highly unusual. The average time for these seeds is usually an hour and a half or so. A lot of hour 20 dot dones. There have been some hour dot dones. The seed has gone and taken its toll on all of its runners and just dragged them through the mud.
Dobby has picked up the pan now and has gone back down to hit Young with that. Is going to go turn that in. I think that this leads now to the Sand Ruby.
Yes, this will give him a Sand Ruby and a Luca key, which I don't think he's going to care about Tella, and that Luca key is going to be a very short check, and then he will have exactly one place left to go. And I do believe he picked up Edge, so I think he is in a position to go and take out Valvalis on the moon. But Zilch going through, he's clearing bottom up. This is the efficient path, but this is not the correct path to make. We know he has to take on Val.
Yeah, he's going to get a lot of XP for this, which I think his party still needs some. So, it's, good for the XP, but just unfortunate that he's not actually getting progression through any of this.
Yeah, I think this is going to go and give him his tower key, unless the tower key was the spot next to this. I unfortunately can't remember exactly where they were, but we know where Legend is. We know it's not here. We know this is exactly where he needs to go. And there's dobbytwostep going back underground, going and chasing Luca Key, hoping beyond hope that this is his Legend sword and he doesn't have to deal with Val.
Yeah, this is the tower key for Zilch. Let's just hope that he doesn't decide to nope all the way out of Moon to follow this. He might leave a save up here and then decide to exit out and follow that tower key and then come back up here when it doesn't lead to anything.
I wouldn't doubt that. This is definitely something that you can expect. It's a chain from the moon. Maybe it's something that goes and leads him there and everyone else has had some trouble getting through, but this is... Oh, looks like Zilch is continuing on. He's going to continue clearing while dobbytwostep is going and checking that Luca. He's going to discover that spoon and discover that I don't really need this. Also, he really wants him to throw at Val.
I mean, at that point, he's going to know that Val is required, so I guess he could keep the spoon, but he's going to have to fight whatever the boss is and then walk all the way out of here, so that's going to be a big time, a time crunch.
Yeah, he might need to go and just level up that edge of it on the moon. He's got Sirens now, which were in Fey March, and he can go and get double gold dragon fights in Cave Bahamut. He can just take that fight very quickly, get enough levels on Edge, and let Edge chip away at Val's health. Meanwhile, we see Peasants just grinding up on gold dragons. Looks like he's trying to set up a double life setup. And, well, he didn't go and successfully get it off, but he did go and get one life glitch off.
Oh, looks like Dobby did not save outside of the sealed cave. He has a save at the save point inside, but his last save before that was, it looks like, before he did Twin Harp.
That is going to cost him some time he really doesn't have, but Zilch going through this whole lunar subterranean is going to go and get a lot of levels. He's going to be perfectly leveled for the Zemus fight, but he needs that Legend Sword. He needs to go to Cave Bahamut now and get it. This is going to be very close between Zilch and Dobby. Yeah, Dobby knows where he has to go. Dobby knows he has to kill Val. He has to go and do this. That is the only place left. It is a 28 out of 28. Zilch, unfortunately, is also going to 28 out of 28 if he checks Tower Key. But again, this seed, 2 hours, 5 minutes, no one is done.
Well, Smapty has certainly got a reputation for himself now of rolling rude seeds.
Yeah, thanks, Smapty, for not rolling the seed I'm doing tonight, because this would be terrifying. I would hate this.
What do you think has been the worst thing that they've had to get through? We've seen lots of rude things today, Bakashinobi, but what do you think has been the worst thing that they've had to get through?
That Dark Knight Cecil just did work on Zilch. Zilch went and did his best to get through it. He did it at the lowest levels, but Peasants and Dobby going up to the moon, that really, really gave them the edge that they needed. Outside of that Dark Knight Cecil, Baigan has been just mean. Val is not hard per se. Val is just slow and annoying because you have to do physical damage. You really can't rely on magic to kill Val. And this seed has given one valuable melee fighter an edge in the Tower of Zod behind the Earth Crystal. But here comes dobbytwostep. He is going to pop some sirens to get his edge up to speed, and then I think he's just going to try and tear through Val as fast as possible.
Zilch did get through that Baigan fight, got the Excalibur that he was holding. Not that we have anybody to use it. Edge will be able to dart it, and he hasn't fought that Val yet, so Edge will be able to dart that Excal. That'll be a pretty nice thing to dart when he uses it there.
Yeah, Edge is... Well, at least it's not a crystal sword, right? Like the one we got from Dwarf Castle. But here is Peasants going to Zemus. He is set up. He is ready. I believe we have one very important question we need to ask Maggie.
Yeah, it's something like, whose bottom are we going to beat? Something like that?
Something like that, because while we don't go and change Zemus and bring Zemus into the normal boss pool, we do like to go and do something, because this is a randomizer. And the something we like to do is change this sprite into something. So get your Z flags out in chat as we ask whose butt we're going to kick this afternoon.
Absolutely. We see these Z flags coming out. Chat's already getting their guesses in. And we're going to see now on Peasants' screen whose butt we are going to kick today.
Peasants going in, building up the anticipation with all that menuing. It looks like he's got the crystals queued up. He's just lowered his battle speed and is waiting for it to come out. There's the crystal. Who are you today, Zemus? Who are you?
Show us your true colors.
I object to this sprite. It's too beautiful looking.
Isn't that Peasants' avatar on Discord?
No, Peasants, I think, uses a character from a Studio Ghibli movie. But this is Edgeworth from the Ace Attorney games.
Yeah, I thought one of the runners used this character, but yes, I'm familiar with the series. I just... Scala, of course, does a wonderful job rendering all these sprites for us. Thank you so much to Scala Kitty, our admins, who makes all of these beautiful sprites for the Z flag. I think there's something like 430 or 450 sprites in this, so another wonderful sprite that we're seeing here today.
Oh yeah, Scala Kitty never lets down when we see one of her sprites, and this is no exception. We're seeing that Peasants is going and throwing up Reflect, is going and throwing out nukes through a Silk Web to go and trigger the counter nuke. The counter nuke goes and reduces the magic power for Zemus's Big Bangs, which will go and normally do somewhere between 1800 to 2000 damage, and with this will do just about 1,000 damage. These nukes are getting reflected to 1, bypass the nuke counterattacks, and 2, after we do enough damage to Zemus, he'll want to go and refill his HP. He refills his HP like a counterattack, reflects bypass counterattacks, so we'll be able to kill Zemus at a much lower HP total of about 62,000 HP with just these indirect cast spells. Meanwhile, we see that dobbytwostep is in his Valvalis fight, is going to be getting his crystal soon, while Zilch is taking on that Dark Elf and the Wyvern spot. Zilch is almost done full clearing the moon. Depending on how things go, maybe he can go and catch up, but this is going to be very close. All Peasants, he's got his nukes coming out. He has 5 small children throwing very high-powered spells. I don't think Zemus is going to have much of a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. Both Zilch and Dobby have the pass, so once they both get that Legend Sword, it's going to come really down to the wire. Dobby gets through the Val fight, so it's going to be getting the Ninja Sword, or I'm sorry, the Legend Sword, very quickly here.
Yeah, and Zilch getting his ninja shirt, not what he wants to see. He knows where he has to go. There's 1 of 2 spots, and Kate Bahamut is the play to make. But Peasants having a clean fight, not healing up, but throwing out all the nukes and weights. And I believe there's the flash. There is Peasants done with an official time of 2 hours, 11 minutes, and 51 seconds. GG to peasantsomfg. Let's see if we can get him in here for an interview.
GG's on Peasants' first place finish.
Yeah, that was the seed. There is, Zilch is choosing to go back to Earth and find his, follow that tower key while Dobby is going back to Earth to forge his.
Ooh, yeah, that's really unfortunate for Zilch. He had a 50-50 shot of where to go next, and it looks like he is unfortunately taking the wrong play here. But it sounds like we are now joined by Peasants OMFG. Welcome, Peasants, and congratulations on your first place.
Hey, thanks.
How do you feel?
I feel so bad. I think that's the worst seed I think I've ever played in my life. I'm not even exaggerating. I've had better times on Katters than with that seed.
So, tell us what you think was the hardest thing in that seed that you had to get through.
I wiped a Wyvern twice, which was unfortunate. One should have got it the first time, but only had 10 mana and no ethers to spam summons. Dark Knight Cecil being there was awful. Valvalis holding the Legend Sword was hilarious for that team. Everything about that seed was just god awful.
Yes, you were the first person to find Legend Sword because you refused to leave Moon until you killed Val. What drove that decision?
Basically at that point I had got nothing but Tower Key up there, and I still had to go through Dark Knight Cecil. Like, in my head I thought everyone was probably going to be doing Moon anyway, but I can't imagine getting through Dark Knight Cecil without, with that team. Like, it's pretty absurd. But I know Val's weak, like she can, at least be hit by magic there. I didn't need to grind or anything. Just as long as I got my blinks up, bluffed a few times, I was going to be able to do it at least a bit enough damage to get at an okay pace.
Yeah, you were 2 of our runners went and did Moon before Dark Knight Cecil. Zilch decided to go and just grind in Upper Babel to get through Dark Knight Cecil and didn't go to the moon until he full cleared Earth.
How many levels do you need to do that?
He got up to mid-30s, I think, and had 800 HP on his Palom, and then had to daisy chain heals onto that Palom in order to go and keep him alive. It was impressive, but it was also very time-consuming. It took him a very long time to get through that.
Whew. That's rough. I just during that entire seed, like every single thing I did wrong, like because I think I was starting to get quite tilted towards the end of it, or the middle end, like section of the of it. Everything I did, I felt like I was going so slow, and then I would like wipe the CPU at the top of tower, and I would just it just kept getting worse and worse. And I didn't feel good.
This seed was this seed is very easy to tilt with. How did it feel getting nothing but small children to take on the eldritch horror that is Zemus?
I genuinely really liked the team. It was a good team. Besides, I wish I kept a Porum over probably Rydia. Like I wish I kept. Oh, sorry. I wish I cursed ring the Rydia instead of the Porum, because I needed there was no illusions on the moon, like for the moon, so I needed those blinks, and it made it a lot harder just with the one blink.
That just makes the seed even worse.
It certainly did.
Do you have any final thoughts on the seed?
I don't know. It was a good roll, SMFG. Solid stuff. I'm excited for top 8. Like I know I don't sound very excited. I think I just lost all my energy from it, but I'm definitely very, very keen for the playoff.
Yes, you'll be merging with the you and the second place winner of this will be merging with the Golbez group, which I am a part of. So I'm going to be facing you again.
Yay! Person Barker. Excellent.
I'm sure it'll be great fun, but congratulations on your first place finish. You
Absolutely. Enjoy the rest of your day and get some rest to get ready for the finals. And GG on your first place and progressing on to the next bracket.
Thank you very, very much, guys. Thanks for commentating and restreaming. Have a good one.
Yes, and thank you. And thank Peasants for going and letting us restream him so we have something to see. Answer a question from chat. The next race is going to be at 7 p.m. Eastern time tonight. It will involve the Golbez group, which is Aizen Tayama and Venerable and some schmuck named Bakashinobi. Meanwhile, we see dobbytwostep is in his Zemus fight. Zilch, however, has just gotten his Legend Sword. If dobbytwostep somehow takes a wipe, Zilch might be able to catch up.
And tonight's race, Baka, do you know, is that here on Limit Break again?
Yes, tonight's race will be on RPG Limit Break. So if you don't feel like going anywhere for, 5.5 hours, you'll be in perfect position to see the race.
Yeah, absolutely. So, stick around, come back in a few hours. We'll be seeing, tonight's race will be the last of the round of 16, I guess we're calling these. And then the ones who move on will be in the finals coming up pretty soon here. And there's Dobby with the Flash. So joining Peasants will be dobbytwostep, moving on to the finals. So GG to Dobby coming in with an official time of 2 hours, 18 minutes, and 31 seconds.
Yes, GG to dobbytwostep. That's was mean.
Let's see if we can get Dobby in here. It sounds like we are now joined by Dobby. GG on your second place finish.
Thank you.
How do you feel about that seed?
I hate it. I saw Porum and I was like, yeah, it's my kind of seed, No, it wasn't.
I mean, this seems like what you deserve for liking Porum.
No, Baka, we're gonna convert you one day, dude. Hold on there.
What do you think was the worst part of that seed?
Everything.
No, you can only pick one.
I can only pick one?
Top 3.
The party?
See, that's so funny. Peasants just got done saying that he liked the party.
Well, I love the party, but I liked the party when I had Edge and I could actually take out Val, and it wouldn't take me 10 years to take out Val on the moon with a zerked up Artemis arrow, samurai bow, Porum with no heroine robe.
So Dobby, did you know that Val can be hit by magic in that spot?
Oh, can she?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was so sweating bullets, I just didn't think about it.
Yeah, that's how Peasants actually got through that spot. When he joined you up on the moon and cleared it, same time you did, but he decided not to go and leave Val. He decided to clear, and he threw silk webs and it hit. So he started throwing spells to start getting through that.
Yeah, it's usually a good practice of mine, you know. If you're unsure about a spot with Val, throw virus or something and see if it hits, and then go into town on her. But I was sweating bullets, and I was like, okay, it's my very last check. Let's just do it, get it done, go beat it up, please.
Okay, yes, that makes a lot of sense. How did you feel when you saw Dark Knight Cecil?
I ran really quick.
Yeah, you were the first one, I think, to nope out of that and go up to the moon. And you for a while, we thought that you were kind of in first place position, even though nobody had found any, like the adamant or the legend sword. But you had the best levels. You were clearing out moon. You know, you seemed to be like making the most progress at that point.
Yeah, I've seen DKC there too many times, and with that party, it would have taken forever. Maybe if I would have kept Edward, maybe. But at that point, it's like, okay, my party's getting one shot. It'll take forever. Let's go moon. It's a better plan. We can grind out the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, Zilch ended up going and fighting through that, and he ground up a lot of levels to go and get through that. He was, you were in your 40s when he was getting through Dark Knight Cecil. How did you feel about that moon after you left it having nothing but the Tower King and package?
I was just hoping for a good Tower Key. That's all. I just wanted one good Tower Key.
Do you have any other thoughts on that, absolutely wonderful, high density forum seed?
Smith D is banned. I'm sorry. I love you, Smith D, but you're banned.
How do you feel about moving on to the next stage? You'll be combining with the Golbez group for the top 8 play-in.
It's gonna be a lot tougher. These never get any easier.
I know that feeling. Becky, do you have any questions?
My only question was, what were you thinking when you hit the 2-hour mark and you didn't see any dones? Were you like really sweating? Like, what were your thoughts at that point?
Hundo seed, basically. I saw Golbez and I saw Wyvern, and I thought, okay, it's in a nasty spot. It's a nasty boss. Something's wrong. Let's do all the nasty bosses we can find.
Well, GG's on your second place and on making it through to the round of 8 and to the finals, and congratulations on moving on.
Well, thank you all for the comms, tracking, and the restream. I appreciate it, and we'll see you later.
Thank you. Have a nice day. Congratulations on the second place finish and moving on to the next round.
Well, GG's to all of our runners for making it through this seed. Zilch did unfortunately forfeit right at the end there when he saw the other 2 finishes, but he did get his legend sword and was about to forge his crystal, so he was right there at the end. So make sure to give all of our runners a follow. They really put themselves out there for our entertainment and our enjoyment. They put on one heck of a show today with this seed. This was not an easy seed at all for them to get through. So please give them a follow and thank them for their hard work and all of their, putting themselves out there for us. And congratulations to Dobby and to Peasants for making it through to the next round. Yeah,
this seed was evil. You have Oh, I am so glad I didn't have to run the seed myself. Having to go and fight through Dark Knight Cecil with a team that is not going to get over 1,000 HP until way higher than you want it to be. Needing to go and clear the moon in order to go with that team still. Not having sirens to go and do grind options. That seed was just devastating. And congratulations to our runners for getting through it. They all deserve follows, and I hope you all go and give them, because they deserve to be part of the top 16. They are all great runners. And I believe we're about ready to wrap up, and we're going to be sending everyone over to Moonblaze Wolf, who is playing Final Fantasy VIII, a member of the community.
And don't forget to join us later this evening for the next show. Again, that's at 7 p.m. Eastern time tonight, right back here on RPG Limit Break. It'll be the last of our round of 16 matches, and hope to see you all back tonight. And have a great afternoon. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for joining us. Have a nice evening, and say hi to Moonblaze Wolf for us.